Let's play with pride. Now I'm going to defer this thing to something I've been watching twice a year, and I watch him do in the end zone. And for once, I want to see him do it in our locker room. Ray Lewis, take him, man.
All right. What time is it? What time is it? It goes enough. It goes enough. What time is it? What time is it? It goes enough. It goes enough.
But Dan Fouts, of course, has been in that AFC locker room. In fact, Dan played in 6 of these games, still holds the Pro Bowl record for most passing yards in a game. What kind of a game are we going to get today?
Well, you know, Al, football is the ultimate team sport, but to get to this game, players must show great individual talent, and we got the NFL's best today. Now, the rules are skewed towards the offense, especially the passing game. And Donovan McNabb and Cordell Stewart both have their head coaches here today, so you know they'll air it out. Now, while this is just a glorified exhibition game, football players are creatures of habit. That means they'll get competitive, they'll crank it up, the coaches will throw in some trick plays, and we're going to have a great time.
We'll have a good time. You know, we're missing our man because of his prior commitment to HBO. Dennis Miller had to do his show last night, but Denny's going to be on at the half. We're going to talk to him.
We miss you, Denny.
We already put in for your per diem, Denny. We'll talk to you at the half. Coming up, the kickoff, AFC, NFC.
To the following presentation of the National Football League.
So here we go, the AFC and the NFC having at it in the Pro Bowl. 23rd consecutive game played at this stadium, and the NFC, white tops and blue pants, with David Akers of the Philadelphia Eagles, one of 8 Eagles named to the Pro Bowl squad to kick it off. We mentioned the trade winds are brisk. In fact, the ball has been blown off the tee before we get underway. And back deep to receive for the AFC will be Jermaine Lewis of the Baltimore Ravens. Also, Troy Brown is back as well. And we can expect to see Troy returning a punt or two today, as well as playing at wide receiver in his 9th season in the league, part of the Super Bowl championship contingent, and playing in his first Pro Bowl. So from breezy and sunny Hawaii, we're underway. Good deep kick, fielded about 4 yards into the end zone, and then with some hesitation, coming back out is Troy Brown, and Brown brings it to the 28-yard line. Let's meet the AFC starters, the offense.
Rich Gannon, Oakland Raiders. Curtis Martin, New York Jets.
Larry Centers, Buffalo Bills.
Tim Brown, Oakland Raiders.
Marvin Harrison, Indianapolis Colts.
Shannon Sharp, Baltimore Ravens. Jonathan Ogden, Baltimore Ravens.
Alan Faneca, Pittsburgh Steelers. Kevin Mawai, New York Jets.
Will Shields, Kansas City Chiefs.
Lincoln Kennedy, Oakland Raiders.
And so with Gannon at the controls to play the first quarter and maybe more, an errant pitch and a loose ball, and the NFC picks up the fumble inside the 10, and they take it down to the 2-yard line. Hugh Douglas of the Philadelphia Eagles picked up the fumble, almost rambled in for a touchdown after Gannon tries to pitch the ball back to Curtis Martin, and the NFC will have a 1st and goal.
Yeah, misdirection play to start the game to get the defense off balance, but it's a bad pitch by Rich Gannon as it goes behind Curtis Martin. Now Martin cannot get on this ball and cover it up, and the NFC has a great break to start this game. Looked like the ball might have slipped out of Gannon's hand. It was so far behind Curtis Martin.
So anything but a conventional start, the first play of the game, resulting in a turnover, setting the NFC up in prime position at the 2-yard line on 1st down and goal. Kurt Warner is the quarterback. Amon Green of Green Bay is the running back, and this is Green, and Green is into the end zone for a touchdown. So just 27 seconds into the game off the turnover, Andy Reid, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles and the head coach of the NFC team, watches his team move on top.
We had a great live shot from the sky cam right above the players. Now we look from the end zone. Just a simple belly play, and you're not going to see a lot of intensity to start this game out of the linemen. Look how high they're playing right here, and Amon Green goes in easily.
Now David Akers for the extra point. And just like that, after the fumble, The recovery by Douglas, the run by Green, 27 seconds into the Pro Bowl. The NFC takes the early lead. NFC Pro Bowl of the game as you look at Bruce Matthews, who in all likelihood, and we'll talk to him before the day is done, is playing his last football game. Chances are there's a good chance Bruce will retire.
Yeah, 14 Pro Bowls for Bruce Matthews, and great honor for him to make it one last time.
Now David Akers to kick off for the second time in the game. This one a shorter kick, and it's fielded by Jermaine Lewis of the Ravens at the 7-yard line. And Lewis brings it back out to the 25-yard line. So the AFC will try it again from that spot. Here's the NFC defense.
Michael Strahan, New York Giants.
Leroy Glover, New Orleans Saints.
Brian Young, San Francisco 49ers.
Hugh Douglas, Philadelphia Eagles.
LeVar Arrington, Washington Redskins.
Brian Urlacher, Chicago Bears.
Jess Armstead, New York Giants. Rondé Barber, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Aeneas Williams, St. Louis Rams.
Sammy Knight, New Orleans Saints.
Brian Dawkins, Philadelphia Eagles.
And Gannon's pass is caught by Marvin Harrison of the Indianapolis Colts. He'll spot the ball up at the 31-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
That's a little bit more like it for Rich Gannon, who was the Pro Bowl's MVP last year for the AFC, overcoming that bad pitch on the first play and going back to a little rhythm pass out to Marvin Harrison.
In fact, Gannon followed up that MVP award here by putting himself in a position to win the regular season award this year. And that pass going a little bit behind Larry Centers. Covering on the play was Jesse Armstead. But as November turned into December, Dan, as we recall, Rich Gannon until that point was as likely as anybody to win the NFL's MVP award.
And the Raiders went into a slide. They quit finishing off games. They dropped a couple in a row. But Gannon showed really what he's all about. It had an outstanding game in the playoffs against the New York Jets.
The award was eventually won by Kurt Warner for the 2nd time in 3 years. Now on 3rd and 4, Gannon fires over the middle, and it's dropped by Tim Brown at the 38-yard line. So how's that for news? I mean, you've got a guy who's used to throwing to a teammate every day in practice throughout the regular season, puts it right on the money, and he simply drops it.
And very vanilla coverages in the Pro Bowl. You see the short arms there by Tim Brown, as he knew that Jesse Armstead was coming from the weak side. This is really remedial football, and you would expect the offenses to perform a little better than we've seen so far.
Shane Leckler of the Raiders is the AFC punter, and Steve Smith, the only representative of the Carolina Panthers to appear here, is the run back specialist. The kick fielded on a hop at the 22 by Smith, and the rookie from Utah with room to roam across the 50. And Steve Smith, who ran the first kickoff of his career back for a touchdown on opening day against Minnesota, sets the NFC up at the 38-yard line of the AFC. 7-0 National Conference. 3 o'clock Pacific. Now the NFC with the ball for the 2nd time. And on 1st down, Warner throws, and that's David Boston, who had a tremendous year with the Arizona Cardinals. 1st down at the 15, the NFC offense.
Kurt Warner, St. Louis Rams. Marshall Faulk, St. Louis Rams.
Mike Allstott, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Terrell Owens, San Francisco 49ers.
David Boston, Arizona Cardinals.
Bubba Franks, Green Bay Packers. Chris Samuels, Washington Redskins.
Leonard Ray Brown Jr., San Francisco 49ers.
Olin Kreutz, Chicago Bears.
Ron Stone, New York Giants.
James Williams, Chicago Bears.
Now from the 16 on 1st down, Warner has that batted down. Boy, there's some great stories along that offensive front as Sam Adams knocked it down. For starters, Dan, you've got Ray Brown, 39 years old, 16th year in the league, first Pro Bowl.
And he's been playing at a Pro Bowl level for many, many years, but sometimes it's just tough to crack the lineup. You talk about staying with it, though. But Ray Brown, or Leonard Ray Brown Jr., as he said, talk about a guy that has been able to be the glue for that 49er line and finally get in the Pro Bowl vote.
2nd down and 10, and through the middle to the 12-yard line goes Mike Allstott, and another guy would be James Big Cat Williams, 11 years in the league, and he gets his first Pro Bowl start.
And this is what they're looking across. The line is Ray Lewis, the great middle linebacker of the Ravens, playing in his 5th straight Pro Bowl. There's Cruz with the block, and then the contact. That's the classic fullbacks all stopped by the classic middle linebacker Ray Lewis.
So Lewis's pregame speech. Each member of the winning team gets $30,000. Each member of the losing team $15,000. 3rd down and 6. Warner hanging in there, patting the ball, and then throws incomplete. He, of course, pats the ball. That's his habit. We see that during the regular season as he tries to hit Falk, but there's little doubt, we talked to him before the game, that thumb is still bothering him, Dan.
And the defense, this is what he's looking at. Watch him look to the left here. And then here's his outlet receiver. And again, I think the thumb, whenever you see a ball sail high on a quarterback, that's a grip problem. And obviously with a bad thumb, that's going to affect that pass.
Bothered him last week in the Super Bowl. We might not see him play that much more today. 29-yard field goal attempt for David Akers. And the Philadelphia Southpaw bangs it through to put the NFC up by 3 more. So the National Conference 10-0 over the American Conference. Kurt Warner, league MVP, wrapping up his 3rd season in the National Football League. He's missed 5 starts over those 3 years with injuries. And over those 3 years, he's made 43 starts. And look at where he ranks in the history of the league. In his first 43 starts, first in every category except in TD passes, where he would be second to Dan Marino. And in yards per pass, second to Norm Van Brocklin.
And it's impressive that he's even here today. We talked about his bad thumb. Missed last year's Pro Bowl with a concussion. But Kurt Warner loves to play football. This is his way of giving back to all the fans, playing in this game despite a bad thumb.
David Akers sends this kick down to the 9-yard line. Jermaine Lewis of the Ravens comes straight up the middle. And a good run back all the way up to the 43-yard line. And that's where the AFC will take over again with Gannon at quarterback. The backup quarterbacks are Cordell Stewart, so we'll see a lot of Stewart probably in the second quarter and into the second half. And then Tom Brady, the Super Bowl MVP, is the number 3 quarterback, and we'll see Brady in the 4th quarter as you look at Cordell Stewart. And Brady's just going to take a good part of the afternoon off and then probably wrap it up for the AFC. From the 42-yard line on 1st down now for the American Conference, down 10-0 early in the game. Toss back to Curtis Martin. Martin is swinging to the outside. He was 2nd in the league in rushing this year to Priest Holmes. Takes it up to the 44.
7 straight 1,000-yard rushing season for Curtis Martin. And one of these days we're going to quit calling him underrated and underpublicized, because these numbers won't lie. They just keep jumping right back at you. Main man for the New York Jets, as he was for the New England Patriots before that big trade, huh?
You're right. If you call a guy underrated long enough, then he loses the label. 2nd down and 7. It's about time in his case from the 44-yard line. Gannon under pressure, throws, and breaking free was Marvin Harrison. Blown coverage in the secondary. Harrison got free, got behind the safeties, and the Indianapolis Colts takes it in for the touchdown. 55 yards. Gannon to Harrison.
Marvin Harrison running a post route, and watch Rondé Barber. He's thinking interception. He picked off 10 this year, but watch left side of the screen as Gannon surveys the field. Barber cuts underneath. Ball perfectly placed in Harrison's hands for the easy score.
And now Jason Elam, who played his college football in this stadium. He went to the University of Hawaii. Elam of the Broncos tacks on the extra point. So we played only 4.5 minutes, but we've already had 17 points. AFC getting on the board here. Gannon to Harrison. Pro Bowl, 10-7. The NFC on top. Some different rules for the Pro Bowl. There's no motion and no shifting for the offense, and no intentional grounding if the quarterback throws the ball toward the line of scrimmage, whether he's in the tackle box or not. Defensively, you have to use the standard 4-3. They say no pass rush stunts. They say no blitzing. But as the game moves along, Dan, we've seen it through the years, you might say they shaved the rules a little bit. At the 16-yard line, Steve Smith of the Panthers comes back the other way, and that's an ill-advised move, and he loses the ball inside the 10-yard line. And it's going to either be first and goal for the AFC, or the NFC somehow is able to retain possession, which they do, deep in their own territory.
Well, the last thing you want is when you change directions is to turn and look at a freak. And that's what happens as Javon Kearse is going to be there. Watch the reverse pivot here by Smith. Ill-advised, number 90's the freak. He not only spins them around, separates them from the ball, and there's 3 or 4 white and red jerseys there that can't come up with the ball.
Jeremiah Trotter, the Philadelphia Eagle linebacker, makes the recovery. That's one of the things I enjoy the most about the Pro Bowl, then, is you'll see guys on special teams you'd never see during the regular season. For instance, somebody like Kearse.
Yeah, and the thing that the only guys really like the special teams are the returners, because we know the tacklers aren't very good.
From the 7-yard line on first down, this is Falk picking up 3. Let's take a look at the AFC starting defense.
John Abraham, New York Jets.
John Randall, the new Seattle Seahawks.
Sam Adams, Baltimore Ravens.
Marcellus Vernon Wiley, San Diego Chargers.
Jameer Miller, Cleveland Browns.
Ray Lewis, Baltimore Ravens. Jason Gilpin, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ryan McNeil, San Diego Chargers.
Delta O'Neal, Denver Broncos.
Rodney Harrison, San Diego Chargers.
Rod Whitman, Baltimore Ravens.
And that pass is intercepted by Delta O'Neal of the Broncos. Warner's pass sailing, and O'Neal takes it to the 6-yard line. So an early AFC turnover, and then the NFL returns the favor. Bubba Franks was the intended receiver. Warner overshoots him, and then O'Neal brings it back and sets up a first and goal.
Bad combination for a quarterback to have a bad thumb and to be playing in the swirling winds of Aloha Stadium. Uncharacteristically, Warner lets that one go high, and now the showboating begins by Delta O'Neal. First Pro Bowl selection, picked off 4 in one game this year.
Played his college ball at the University of California. First down now for the AFC. The ball is at the 6-yard line as they try to take the lead. It's given to Curtis Martin. He works his way to the outside for only 2. Jeremiah Trotter, 54 of the Eagles, trips him up, 2nd and goal.
And now this is where the rules do get bent just a little bit, because a lot of play action down here. A lot of times the linebackers are totally coming after the first look that they see. That time Jeremiah Trotter was on a run blitz, but you can't blame them. They're on almost the goal line. Defense is here. They can use the 6-man line. The linebackers can put their hands on the ground, and they are totally coming after the ball carrier. 2nd down and goal now from the 4-yard line. On the ground, through the middle, into the end zone goes Curtis Martin for the touchdown. Well, the AFC spotted the NFC a 10-0 lead, and in just a couple of minutes, back they come to score 2 touchdowns, and Andy Reid's team now trails. Straight up the middle behind All-Pro center Kevin Mawai of the Jets. Here he is right in the middle, working with Reuben Brown, number 79, and Will Shields. That's a huge hole, and John Lynch can't do anything about it. Extra point now for Jason Elam. And the AFC leads by 4. So each team turning it over. The other team capitalizing in each instance. And it's 14-10. A lock on ESPN tomorrow night. A little more than 8 minutes to go in the quarter as the kick by Elam is taken by Steve Smith, who fumbled his last run back. This time he holds on. Takes it up to the 29-yard line. Well, we have players mic'd up. We have coaches mic'd up. John Randall, the loquacious one.
Hi, my name is John Randall. And I play for the AFC. I used to play for the NFC. Where the music at, man? Ain't no music out here.
Well, he used to play for the NFC. Now he plays for the AFC. But if he stays in Seattle and gets to the Pro Bowl next year, he's back in the NFC because the Seahawks are going to the NFC West.
Yes, they are.
From the 29-yard line on first down, here is Warner under pressure and underthrows Mike Allstott. With the Houston Texans, the expansion team coming into the league next year to make it 32 teams. And Houston part of the AFC. An AFC team had to go over to the NFC, and it was the Seahawks.
Let's check out John Randall working against Big Cat Williams. John Abraham here, rather. He knocks down the quarterback and the huge offensive lineman. Abraham from the Jets.
2nd and 10 from the 29-yard line. Warner throws, caught out in the flat here. That's Chad Lewis of the Philadelphia Eagles, tackled by Rod Woodson. And let's check in with Eric Dickerson.
I'm here with Michael Strahan, a 4-time Pro Bowler. Michael, you had another double-digit sack year. You broke the sack record, 22.5 sacks. How important was that record for you?
Well, it was great. I tell you what, I couldn't ask for anything more except for a few more wins on the team chart. So it was almost bittersweet. And hopefully next year, maybe I could break that. And if I do, hopefully we go a lot further than we went this year as a team.
Now, some people said that record was a little bit tainted. What did you say to those people?
Well, I react to what happens. I'm going to enjoy it. I went through about 2 days of thinking about that. And after that, you know what? I figured I know what I do. I play for a living. I play hard every game. I do my best. And I'm going to enjoy it. And that's the way it's been. And the players have been great. You know, players know, and I don't think anything else, you know, the guys here have been great about it.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Al?
Well, you're right, Eric. And I think, Dan, that record will always be tainted because of what happened with Brett Favre. Brett Favre getting sacked. And, of course, each guy contended it was legitimate. It happened that way. And there were a lot of disbelievers.
Well, but Michael Strahan didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
He went in and played the play as he saw it, made the tackle. It was a tackle, but they credited it as a sack, and only Brett Favre can really answer to why he did what he did.
Todd Sauerbrun's kick is fielded at the 11-yard line, and this is Jermaine Lewis doing a dance, and he brings it back up to the 19.
Well, you know, Al, Michael Strahan did establish a new single-season sack record with his 22.5, and he got 9 of them when his team needed them the most. He got 4 sacks against the Rams, Kurt Warner, in Week 5. And then against division rival Philadelphia, Strahan trapped the elusive Donovan McNabb 5 times in the 2 games his teams played. Beat the old record of Mark Gastineau of the New York Jets. Great season for Michael Strahan.
And blanked in those first 2 games, the first of which was the opening Monday night game, the season opener at then brand new Invesco Field in Denver. Well, Rich Gannon and the AFC now will have the football at the 19-yard line. Since this format began with the AFC and the NFC in 1970 following the merger between the NFL and the AFL, 24 points, the most points scored in any first quarter, and we still have about half the quarter to play. Priest Holmes of the Kansas City Chiefs, there he is the running back, the NFL rushing king this year. Gannon throws, caught on the sideline by Hines Ward of Pittsburgh. Let's check in with Melissa Starr.
Well, Al, Deltha O'Neal with 1 interception today. Earlier this season, tied an NFL record with 4 interceptions in 1 game against Kansas City. You on your way to a new record today?
Nah, you know, I'm just trying to make plays. We trying to win, you know, so trying to set our team up in the best position to win.
Trying to get that 30,000.
Exactly.
This is your first Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
What's been the best part about it?
Just here chilling with my baby, my newborn Talia, and, you know, enjoying the hot sun because I'm in Colorado. It's cold as ever out there, so just enjoying the nice weather. That's my best.
And you're going jet skiing today?
Jet skiing I will be. If you want to come, tag along. We have a tailgate party.
All right, have fun. Back to you, Al.
All right, he'll get in some jet skiing. The game figures to be over by about 3 o'clock local time after Larry Centers carried the ball close to a first down up at the 28-yard line. And there is Priest Holmes, and he emerged. What a breakout season for him, Dan.
Yeah, and when Dick Vermeil took over as the head coach of the Chiefs, he knew what style of offense he wanted to run. Well, it's the same thing he ran with the Rams, but I think he didn't really realize he'd get a similar type of running back in Priest Holmes to Marshall Faulk.
And here is Holmes, and he works his way up to the 31-yard line, and that'll move the chains. First down.
Yeah, Holmes is exactly what Dick Vermeil needed. He led the NFL in rushing and total yardage. And the system that the Chiefs run, very similar to what the Rams do. They don't have the talent except for this man right here. Very similar to Marshall Faulk with the desire to get in the end zone.
Priest Holmes sent to Kansas City, of course, had Brian Billick known that Jamal Lewis was going to get hurt in preseason, Holmes would have remained a Raven. There's a little flip back to Gannon on the flea flicker that wobbles in the wind and coming back at the 40-yard line to pick it off. Troy Brown.
That ball was end over end. That wasn't even a wobble.
I say pick it off. He had the look of a guy playing defensive back. He, of course, was the intended receiver coming back and making the catch. The coverage by Rondé Barber.
And Rich is telling Troy to signal for a fair catch on this bunt. Great job of coming back for it in front of Rondé Barber. I mean, he was well covered here, but the ability to find that duck and run it down, that was great.
From the 29-yard line, back to the ground they go, and this is Holmes. And Holmes inside the 20, into the end zone. Priest Holmes. This is a lot like a typical National Hockey League All-Star game.
Another shot on goal and they score. Not a good first half for Rondé Barber. Watch Barber on the outside here as Priest Holmes cuts to the outside. Missed tackle there. And that's not even a frozen puck.
NFC is trying to sign Patrick Waugh as we speak. Jason Elam for the point after. So the NFC led 10-0, and the AFC now looking for its 21st unanswered point.
For a minute there, I thought we were having a challenge there, but of course in the Pro Bowl there are no challenges.
No challenges.
Thank goodness.
No challenges. There is overtime, though. In fact, we had an overtime game here a few years ago. And Elam puts it through. And with 4:43 to go in the opening quarter in Honolulu, it is 21-10 AFC, and let's go to Eric.
I'm here with new Hall of Famer Dan Hampton of the Chicago Bears. Dan, a lot of people talk about that Bears defense of 1985 being one of the greatest defenses of all time. What was one of your fondest memories of that defense?
Well, one of the, actually you had a little bit to do with that. Y'all came in and we had a pretty good day against you guys when you were with the Rams. But, we had so many great players, and it was an honor just to be on the football field with them. But, when you get enough people that really care, and we had so many great players. Singletary's in the Hall, and Richard Dent, McMichael, Wilbur Marshall, Otis Wilson. Man, I tell you what, playing a lot of good games was easy for us.
Now, what one person had the biggest influence on your NFL career?
Well, I tell you what, I had great coaching all through, but I tell you this, even with Mike Dickey, I think Buddy Ryan, and a lot of people that played for Buddy, Buddy was special to us all in a very different way, but Buddy was a guy that kind of taught me to, grow up and be a man, because this is not an easy game. I mean, it's a brutal game, played by hard men, and hey, it's time to grow up. And he was very instrumental in making me understand that a great pro doesn't show up once in a while. He shows up every down, and that's probably the guy that had the biggest impact.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Eric.
Al.
Our congratulations to Danimal.
Yeah, the Danimal.
Dan Hampton. Our congratulations, too, to Jim Kelly, the Buffalo quarterback, the new Hall of Fame inductee. Jim was here for a couple of days earlier in the week and then had to return home, but we look forward to the induction ceremonies in Canton, Ohio when the preseason begins, and we'll talk to the other new Hall of Famers as the afternoon moves along here in Honolulu.
Such a treat for the Hall of Famers to come to this game, because so many of them played here in the in the Pro Bowl game, and to be able to walk down the middle of the starting lineup for both squads, and to get the applause of the crowd to be introduced as Hall of Famers, it's an unforgettable experience for these guys.
And it's just sinking in for some of these guys because the voting took place a week ago today. Pretty good way to celebrate. A little trip to Hawaii. Jason Elam's kick is fielded at the 11-yard line, and this is Steve Smith of the Carolina Panthers. Trying to find some room and finds none. Taken down at the 22-yard line, hit hard right there by Kendrell Bell, the youngest player in the game, the rookie from Pittsburgh. Brad Childress calling the plays for the NFC. The assistant coach has the headset on, and we can listen in as he makes the play call, and the quarterback's coach to Warner. Well, we will listen in.
Yeah, he probably just whispered it to him while they were over on the sidelines, but we'll get to hear exactly what they're doing, especially in those crucial situations.
Yes. At the 22-yard line on first down, Warner slings it to the outside. That's caught by David Boston for a gain of about 9. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Priest Holmes was an undrafted free agent out of Texas 5 years ago. This year led the NFL in rushing yards, total yards from scrimmage. Did you always know that you had that kind of ability?
Well, the ability was there, definitely, because when I was in Baltimore, I was playing with a number of great athletes. Rod Woodson, Ray Lewis. Those are the type of guys that you learn underneath. And when playing football, it's one of those things that you love to do.
Now, I got to get to the bottom of this. When you found out that you made the Pro Bowl, you told your entire team that you'd bring them?
I went crazy and I said, y'all all coming. But unfortunately, some had school to go back to. Some of their wives wouldn't let them go. But at the same time, some of them did come.
You are setting a bad precedent. Thanks. Back to you, Al.
Priest Holmes looking for a new contract to pay off the expenses. Keyshawn Johnson just made that catch, and it's a first down. Well, you're looking at Kurt Warner. He was undrafted. And look at these guys, undrafted out of college, and they are all here. All 10 of them were named to the Pro Bowl. Rod Smith is not physically here, replaced because of injury. But, you know, you talk about holes in a scouting system. Well, there are 10 pretty good examples. 1st and 10. Warner flings it over the middle, and it's knocked down. Reaching in to get a hand on it was Rodney Harrison. I don't know if it's just flaws in the scouting system, Dan, or a combination of perhaps a flaw in that scouting system, and also the late development of some of these players.
I think a lot of players mature at different ages, and Kurt Warner is a great example of how he not only matured late, but also had to get experience at different leagues. Played in the Arena League, played over in Europe. And that experience, plus his own natural maturity, is the reason he's the great player he is.
2nd down and 10 from the 37-yard line. And that's Terrell Owens of the San Francisco 49ers out to the 47-yard line. Now we'll hear Childress making the play call, we think.
Double wing right. This is quarterback sneak right. I like that one. Double wing right, quarterback sneak right. Play back offset left. About the end of the line.
How do you like that one? The answer should be not very good, Coach. Quarterback sneak. Come on, we got Pro Bowlers lining up in the backfield. And Kurt Warner's got a bad thumb, but watch this. It's going to be a quarterback sneak.
3rd down and 1. There he goes.
Okay, guys.
As Dennis would say, bucks it up in there hard.
Not that hard. Right. That was a kind of a softie there. Kind of leaned on the center there, Olin Kreutz.
In behind the Chicago Bears center, Olin Kreutz. And for Olin, what a thrill this is, because he played his high school football here in Honolulu at St. Louis High School. There he is. In fact, when I started my broadcasting career here and I was doing high school football, his uncle, Baba Kreutz, was playing for Kalani High School.
That's great. How was Baba?
Baba was great. He was an outstanding fullback. Reminded me a lot of, like, he was a Don Nottingham type. Ray Lewis is saying that much short.
Yeah, that's the other part why you don't want to run a quarterback sneak. Ray Lewis, that's enough to make Kurt Warner say, I think I'll audible on this or change the play. Here it is.
Okay. Hey, let's go get it. Let's go get it.
I got the ball. 4th down here.
As easily as Amon Green scored on his touchdown from the 2-yard line. Our Marshall Falk is in the game here now, but this is a passing formation. Watch for another sneak.
Don't get in too shake.
4th down, a couple of inches. Flag. It's our first flag of the game. Ron Blum is the referee. AFC started to come across the line. The question was there a false start?
And the great thing about the quarterback sneak is that is a tuck. And Ron, of course, involved in the play earlier this year.
Offside, 75 defense, 5 yards. By measurement, the first down.
That's Marcellus Wiley, the former Bill, who played the season with San Diego. Yeah, it's a funny thing because so much was made of the Tom Brady play in the Oakland game, and yet in the Monday night game, that's the first time this year it happened with Warner and the tuck rule coming into play. And I know as we were watching the snowball on television, Dan, it's the first thing that came into our minds. At the 48-yard line now is Warner. Starts to throw over the middle, tip, and nearly picked off, incomplete.
You know, Al, it would be a safe bet to assume that the league would do something about when a quarterback is trying to throw a pass or trying to maintain possession of the ball by tucking it away. Both Kurt Warner and Tom Brady were clearly not trying to throw a pass, but were trying to maintain possession of the ball. Both of these plays were called incomplete passes, and especially the Raiders and Tom Brady. You talk about a crucial call, but it was the correct call, just a bad rule.
And apparently it is a rule that's going to be looked at very carefully at the owners' meetings as far as the competition committee is concerned, as that pass is overthrown and incomplete, intended for David Boston and covered by Delta O'Neal. That is clearly one of the rules that will be a subject of much discussion in Orlando in March. Flag down here.
And apparently this is a rules infraction penalty flag thrown by the umpire, who is in direct communication with observers up here in the press box.
What do you do? Line up, what do you do?
We eavesdrop. And unsportsmanlike conduct would indicate a rules violation. And this call is coming from upstairs.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, illegal defense. There was no safety in the middle of the field by rule in this game. There must be a safety in between the hash marks. That's a 15-yard penalty in the first down.
A safety between the hash marks. I think Larry Peccatello is the NFL observer upstairs, and so it's his call to make. And he signals down to the umpire, who then tells referee Ron Blum, and there's your penalty.
And the tough thing about that is the safety's reading the quarterback's eyes, trying to figure out where he's throwing the ball. Warner throws the ball to the outside. The safety reacts, and so at some point he leaves the middle of the field because he's trying to make a play on the ball.
That result, first down, NFC at the 33-yard line. Warner pump faking, throwing, caught by his teammate over the middle. Marshall Faulk, one ram hits the other. Gain of 8. Here's Melissa.
Al, it is hard to believe that Bruce Matthews is coming off his 19th season. The big question, of course, that everybody wants to know, is this the last game we'll see you play in?
Well, there's a good chance it is, and I guess I'm still not, I don't know, bold enough to say this is my last game, but there's a pretty good shot it is. So I'm enjoying this week, and our family's had a great time.
You were left unprotected. Any chance that you'd stay at home in Houston, where you have a house, where you played most of your career, if selected?
It's strange because I read about it in the sports every day, and part of me saying, oh yeah, I can still play, no problem. And then I go out and run around a little bit and feel horrible, and the more sane side of me says no way. But at this point, I'm probably done, but you never know. We'll see.
It's been a great ride. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Melissa. Well, the Houston Texans, if they choose, could select Matthews in the expansion draft, which comes up in a couple of weeks. There are 5 players in this game who have been left unprotected by their current teams who could be chosen by the brand new franchise. 3rd down and 1, and this is Faulk, and that's a nice tackle made by the Jet, John Abraham.
Getting back to Bruce Matthews, the amazing thing about Matthews, and there's plenty, is that in this game, he's the backup center, but he's also the long snapper. How about that?
Great football family. His dad, of course, was a professional player, and brother Clay, the longtime Browns linebacker, retired a few seasons ago. The players in today's game: Ken Dilger of Indianapolis, Gary Walker of Jacksonville, Jesse Armstead of the Giants, Jermaine Lewis of Baltimore, and Matthews. They are the 5 exposed to the expansion draft. The most likely to be chosen by Houston would probably be Gary Walker, the tackle from the Jaguars. Field goal attempt here from 41 yards. David Akers of the Eagles, and he sends that one right down the middle. From 41 as the quarter ends. Highest scoring quarter in the history of the Pro Bowl. And we'll be back after this message and a word from more ABC stations. Back to Honolulu. Tom Brady 6 days ago in New Orleans, and there were the numbers and the key yardage coming on that very last drive.
A lot of people thought that the Patriots might take a knee, but Tom Brady and Bill Belichick had other plans. The great thing about the drive is he made the plays when he had to. Completed 5 of 8, spiked the ball twice to stop the clock, and J.R. Redmond did an outstanding job of diving there to get out of bounds. But this type of drive, this is legendary. To win a Super Bowl game with a field goal, Tom Brady joins the ranks of Unitas, Montana, and Elway.
Second year out of the University of Michigan. Well down the depth chart. Kickoff here by Akers, taken by Jermaine Lewis. He has a Super Bowl ring as a member of last year's champion Ravens. And Lewis brings the ball back to midfield and into NFC territory. Dan, I think everybody should get out of the prediction business. Rams are 4-12, win the Super Bowl, 99. Ravens 8-8, win the Super Bowl the following year. Patriots 5-11, lose Bledsoe after the second week, win the Super Bowl. Go figure.
Well, it seems like it's a quarterback thing, too. Before each of those teams win the Super Bowl, nobody expected that the quarterback position would be so influential in winning the Super Bowl. And what Tom Brady did this year, you know, and Bill Belichick should get a lot of credit, too, for sticking with him after Bledsoe gets healthy, not changing the chemistry of the team. Bledsoe should get credit for being a team guy. And, of course, Tom paid it all off.
Gannon hits Harrison. So it begs the question now, with Brady probably on the verge of getting a new contract, what do you do with Drew Bledsoe? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, you know, obviously there are going to be a lot of teams coming to the Patriots and talking deal. And you know that Drew wants to play. He's getting towards that part of his career. He has a huge contract, though. That could be a problem as far as salary cap and all those type of things. But this New England Patriot team now is Tom Brady's team.
A lot of talk about the possibility of Bledsoe winding up in Washington with Steve Spurrier. From the 36-yard line, this is Holmes to the short side of the field, seeking the first down behind a Kevin Mawai block close to it. And for the Patriots, of course, our congratulations to Robert Kraft, one of the very finest owners ever in any sport. Much deserved championship for the Kraft family. And of course, next season, and clearly the Patriots will be back on Monday Night Football multiple times. I'm sure we'll take a gander at the brand new facility that the Patriots will move into next August.
And Dennis Miller received a game ball way back when after the Hall of Fame game last year from Bob Kraft.
At the 23-yard line, Priest Holmes. Now, Tom Clements is calling in the plays for the AFC, the Pittsburgh quarterback's coach. Here he is.
Flat out, 580, screen left.
Clements got a lot of credit for the outstanding success enjoyed this year by Cordell Stewart, working very closely with him, with offensive coordinator Mike Mularkey, and of course under Bill Cowher, the Steelers got all the way to the AFC Championship game, where they were favored and upset by New England.
And I believe this play is going to be a screen pass here to Priest Holmes off the left side.
2nd and 8. And there is Holmes. Pass a little bit high, but he reaches for it. And then takes the ball inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Let's get to Clements' next play call. Former Notre Dame quarterback Tom Clements.
One flat out, 77 double option.
Completion was good for 5 yards.
This is a pass play. A double option means that the inside receivers will have the ability to break to either side. So keep your eye not only on the tailback Holmes, but on the slot receiver right here.
3rd down and 3. Well, option left, pass caught, and it is Ken Dilger making the catch, staying in bounds, getting into the end zone.
Great job by Rich Gannon coming off Tim Brown, who was covered on his option route, finding his outlet receiver. But let's watch Brown here. Here he is. Here he's going to come down and look to the inside. But good coverage by the NFC here will take this away. Gannon wheels right now to the outside, has the arm strength to get the ball behind LeVar Arrington, and Dilger walks into the end zone.
Dilger from the Colts, 7th year, played his college ball at Illinois. First Pro Bowl, and the kick is good by Jason Elam. So already 41 points up on the board, 28 of them by the AFC. Of Aloha Stadium, about 3/4 of a mile away.
USA, NFL, ABC, USA, NFL, ABC, USA, NFL,
Did you leave those tickets?
You guys work for us.
10-yard line. Steve Smith's had a busy day running back kicks. And the Carolina Panther brings it back out to the 33-yard line.
Steve Smith is going to be exhausted when this game's over.
So is the scoreboard operator. The over-under was 44.5. I think you're safe. 41 points already. And Jeff Garcia comes into the game. So Kurt Warner was 6 out of 14 for 63 yards. Chances are he's done for the day. Now Garcia, and before the day is done, we'll also see Donovan McNabb of Philadelphia, who was brought over when Brett Favre begged off because of a back injury. And this is Garcia throwing on first down and hitting Keyshawn Johnson to the 38-yard line. Jeff Garcia very much a sudden star in his own right, the great legacy of Montana and Young, and of course before that people like Y.A. Tittle and Frankie Albert. And then here comes this guy out of nowhere, and he's put his name into the 49er record book.
And a local boy from Gilroy, California, just down by San Jose. Garcia not only putting his name in the record book, but bettering some of the records set by Montana and Young.
Sure. Another guy you have to throw in there, of course, John Brody, the great 49er quarterback of the past. 2nd down and 5 from the 38-yard line. And Garcia going deep, and the flag is thrown as Torrey Holt was being held by Deltha O'Neal.
Torrey Holt pushed Torrey Holt. Deltha O'Neal pushed Torrey Holt out of bounds. And that would be illegal contact.
Cordell Stewart is loosening up with Brady. We're going to see Cordell next, and then Brady in the second half. All right, let's check in with ED. Eric?
Al, I'm here with Jesse Armstead, 5-time Pro Bowler of the Giants. Now, Jesse, tell me, why did the Giants leave you unprotected?
I can't understand that myself. I'm just out here right now, and I get a lot of more team opportunity to get ready for me.
If not chosen, taken back by the Giants, do you see yourself a Houston Texan next year?
I don't know. Whoever wants me, I'm ready to play ball for you.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right.
Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Eric. Ahman Green losing too. You know, one of the reasons the Giants would leave somebody like an Armstead unprotected, same reason other teams would leave a guy who would go to a Pro Bowl unprotected. You're thinking about numbers. It's all about the salary cap.
Yeah, that's right. It's at those numbers with the decimal points, and you got to fit under. You know, every year the salary cap goes up, but so do salaries, and you can't blame the players for trying to cash in when they have great years, going to Pro Bowls and wanting bigger salaries.
It's a cat and mouse game too, because the teams, when they compile those lists, as Garcia sets up the screen, and this is caught by Ahman, taken down at the 25-yard line, but you're taking a gamble. Some teams will put a guy out there and say, you know what, I'll bet you they don't take him and we'll get him back. But it's a gamble you have to take.
Absolutely. Little Green in real time here as he goes down into the secondary and picks up a first down for the NFC. 24 years old is Ahman Green, and really the force in that Packer running attack now.
From the 25 on first down and 10. Garcia stepping up, and then he loses the ball at the 23-yard line, and he turns it over as Al Wilson, the linebacker from the Denver Broncos, recovers the fumble.
Now, was he throwing the ball or was he trying to tuck it away? We do not have a challenge here today. Al Wilson got the recovery. John Abraham the hit.
I think
fumble.
Yep. Already past the line of scrimmage. Another turnover. Football fans played the primetime player game on our interactive complement enhanced TV, and over 1 million people competed for a chance to stand on the sidelines and call a play here at the Pro Bowl game. It was narrowed down to 2 winners, one for the AFC, the other for the NFC, and here with the first winner is Melissa.
All right, Al, I'm joined by Bill Cowher and Scott Mansfield from Roseville, Michigan. What's the play you want to call?
The 77 double go.
And why'd you pick that play?
Well, of all the plays that Coach Cowher gave me a look at, I feel like that one had the best opportunity for success.
All right. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we'll see now. I gave you some good plays now, Scott. I'm telling you.
That was the best one.
That's the best one. We had a basic run call, but Scott's going for the jugular here, okay? We'll see what happens.
All right. It's all on the line, Scott.
77 double go. I like the name of it.
And it's more than double go. You're going to have all 4 receivers going deep. My kind of play.
I think it's like photoelectric football. Here's Cordell Stewart. So here comes 77 double go. Called by Scott. Sent in by Cowher. And Stewart throws, and that's incomplete. So everybody, all 4 guys going deep, incomplete. Les?
All right, so I guess you don't want to add him to your staff.
I'll see you in the second half. We're going to talk at halftime. That play wasn't any good.
Thanks, Coach.
You know, you win a contest, and you're not going to buck it up in there hard, all right? You know, you're going to go 77 double go.
Yeah, you know, what the heck? That's what the people want to see. It's your chance for fame and glory.
Right.
Don't buck it up in there hard stuff. Throw the bomb.
Second down and 10. The other winner, of course, will call a play later for Andy Reid. I don't think it's going to be a quarterback sneak. This is a quarterback draw. Stewart to the 31. So Cordell Stewart really coming into his own, emerging this year, 7th year, the one-time slash, and he was named a slash when he was a quarterback and a wide receiver and a running back, and they weren't sure what he would eventually become, but he became a Pro Bowl quarterback this season.
Mike Mularkey, offensive coordinator for the Steelers, did a great job of molding an offense around the many talents of Cordell Stewart. And again, we talked about that maturity thing too. Cordell's seen the bottom, and he has bounced back and matured and had an outstanding season.
Corey Dillon of the Bengals is the running back. And on 3rd and 4, the pass is a little too high, intended for Troy Brown of the Patriots. So Stewart, 3 and out, and it's 4th and 4.
Great to see Troy Brown in this ball game. This ball thrown a little bit too high by Cordell, but a little strip there, or trip rather, by Troy might have led to his inability to get up and make that catch as well.
Now Shane Leckler to punt. Steve Smith back to receive for the Panthers. Like I said, Steve was the only Panther in the game before there's one other. It's Todd Sauerbrunn. So Carolina, despite winning only 1 game this season, sending 2 special teams guys. And this is a beauty that the trade wins take into the end zone. Speaking of the trade wins, with 8.5 to go in the half. Diamond Head just past Waikiki Beach.
Well, welcome back. I am here with the NFC Enhanced TV winner, Andrew Tuttle from Raleigh, North Carolina, and Coach Reid. What play do you have for him?
The 2-jet U drive.
And why'd you pick that play?
It's a passing play, try to get the ball up the field, start a drive so we can come back in this game, win it for the NFC.
All right.
Good job, Andrew. You're set, man. We'll see how it works.
We will.
All right. So you got in the play call.
NFC starts at its own 20-yard line.
And let's see how Garcia implements this. 8.5 to go. NFC trailing by 15. Straight drop. Pass underneath at the 26-yard line. And that's Byron Chamberlain, gain of 8. Not bad. Melissa?
Well, you may want to put him on your payroll.
No, I'll tell you, that was pretty good. Hey, it takes an Andrew to be able to do that.
Oh, exactly. You guys have something common.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
Well, any coach will take an 8-yard gain on first down.
Absolutely, especially coming off your own 20-yard line. Andy Tuttle. Good job.
2nd and 2 at the 28-yard line. Look out. And in the grasp, got it away, but no penalty. Javon Kearse nearly had a sack.
And that's that rule where the quarterback can throw the ball away at any time. Even though he's under great pressure, Garcia does exactly that. Javon Kearse getting used to getting close to the quarterback. A lot of pressures this year, not as many sacks, but still a real force on that defensive line.
3rd down and 2 from the 28-yard line. Halfway through the second quarter, and the pass is complete to Keyshawn Johnson of the Tampa Bay Bucks up to the 33-yard line, and a 1st down. Well, we're going to talk to some of the Bucks as the afternoon progresses. That is a fascinating story, what's going on in Tampa Bay. The firing of Tony Dungy. Apparently Bill Parcells was going to take the job and decided not to take the job. And all that's going on with the possibility of John Gruden escaping Oakland and winding up down there. Right now, nobody seems to know anything about the Bucs situation, including the Bucs who were at the game.
Or the Raiders who were at the game.
And any rumor flies. I saw John Lynch before the game, and I said, John, have you heard the latest? He says, what? I said, Buddy Ryan. He says, no. I said, I'm just making it up, you know.
Start number 65, offense, 5 yards, will be 1st down.
They get Ron Stone for jumping off sides, but you know the rumors, it's hard to figure out what is exactly the truth and what is not. But the one thing is, it does affect John Lynch, Keyshawn Johnson, and the rest of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I talked to Rich Gannon before the game, and he says he doesn't know what's going on in Oakland.
Eric's going to talk to John Lynch in just a moment on 1st down and 15. And this is Green up to the 35-yard line. All right, E.D., what can you find out here?
Well, I'm here with John Lynch of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. John, now tell me, what's going on with the hiring of a new head coach down in Tampa?
You want to coach?
I don't think you want me as a coach.
But it's been a soap opera over here. You know, it looked like, you know, obviously the Parcells situation in the beginning, and then, you know, everything we were hearing was that Marvin Lewis was going to be the guy, and something happened along the lines, and it's a little unsettling right now, to be honest. And, you know, would like to be here relaxing, but, you know, a lot of people's livelihoods are at stake, so hopefully we'll get that situation taken care of.
How frustrating is it, though?
It's frustrating. You know, you feel like you got it so close to being right there, and now all of a sudden, you know, it's just everything's up in arms. And, you know, you got confidence. The good thing is that the Glazer families, I think their motivation is right in doing it to try to win a championship. And whether you agree with everything that they're doing, that's what they're doing it for.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Thanks,
all right. Al?
All right. Thank you, Eric. And Marvin Lewis deal appeared to have been done a couple of days ago. Now the latest is that Marvin Lewis is, I believe, going to meet with the Washington Redskins about the possibility of becoming the defensive coordinator there under new coach Steve Spurrier.
And Tampa's general manager Richie McKay, you got to be wondering about his future.
3rd and 3, and this is Owens, and he does not make the catch. It's incomplete.
Impossible errant pass by Jeff Garcia there to Terrell Owens.
Well, Tony Dungy's career as the coach of the Bucs is over. Of course, Tony now with Indianapolis, but in the Dungy era, over those 7 seasons, 14 different players were selected to the Pro Bowl. And in the history of the franchise, in the 20 years prior to that, as you can see, a total of 9 players went to the Pro Bowl. So Tony's work very much speaks for itself, what he did to resurrect that franchise. On here by Todd Sauerbrunn, rolls dead at about the 16-yard line.
6.
And we have 5:10 to go. For continuing coverage of the EA Sports Supercross Series presented by Speedstick Motorcycle Racing tomorrow, right here on the American Broadcasting Company. Al Michaels with Dan Fouts, Eric Dickerson, Melissa Stark. Our man Denny is back in California. We'll check in with Dendu at the half as the AFC has the ball here from the 16-yard line, and it's a gain of 1 for Larry Centers. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, 9 of Dave Casper's Raider teammates from the 70s and 80s have already been inducted into the Hall of Fame. What does this honor mean to you to finally get in?
Well, I guess I'm just grateful that people thought good things about what I did when I played, and they thought enough to elect me, and I'm just trying to make sense of it all.
I know it's only been a few days. The question of the day that we're asking everybody, the one person, if you had to name one person who's most responsible for you getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, who would that be?
Well, it might be my mom, because when I first started football when I was 10 years old, I went and watched a Pee Wee football practice, and I didn't think she wanted me to play, so I didn't try, and I came home. She said, "What were you doing?" I said, "I was watching a bunch of kids play football." She says, "Why didn't you go out?" I said, "Can I?" She said, "Yeah." She says, "You go back out tomorrow and try that." And that was back in 1960 or so, and I kept playing football ever since.
Great mom you have. Well, congratulations. We'll see you in Canton.
Thank you.
Back to you, Al.
MLS and some highlights. And, of course, you remember the all-time Dave Casper highlight all too well, Dan, don't you?
Unfortunately, the Holy Roller, when just using his head, advanced the ball from about the 3-4 yard line into the end zone, fell on it for a winning touchdown against some team from San Diego.
And precipitated a rules change the following year. Unabated to the quarterback was, I believe, Hugh Douglas, unless we have a flag.
He might have been drawn offside, so Al, by Jonathan Ogden there.
Well, I'm getting the call from the head linesman, Ernie France, who tells Ron the following.
Offside, number 53, defense, unabated to the quarterback, 5 yards, repeat third down.
He was trying to get himself a sack, so he jumps off sides, but check him out. Look how he's looking in here. That's where the quarterback is. Watch how quick his start is. Yeah, he jumps before Ogden into the neutral zone.
Hugh Douglas started his career with the Jets, now with the Eagles. Great year under Andy Reid, all the way to the championship game in the NFC as the catch is made by Jermaine Lewis. And that is why you have Reid and Cowher here. The coaches for the Pro Bowl are the coaches of the teams that lose in the conference championship games.
Yeah, talking to Bill Cowher, third time he is coaching in this game, and yesterday he said this 3 times too many.
Yeah.
It's a great reward, but a terrible disappointment.
Well, the one year he went to the Super Bowl, he beat Indianapolis. The play that ended the game was a near catch that would have sent the Colts to the Super Bowl. He was able to get to the Super Bowl, was Cowher, but then there was also the San Diego game after the '94 season when Dennis Gibson made the defensive play to keep Cowher from going to the Super Bowl and send Bill to Honolulu once again.
I'm not sure Cowher would have liked to have gone to Miami to play that 49er team. I know the Chargers might have had second thoughts. What a great football team that Steve Young and Ricky Waters, Jerry Rice. You can just see him going right down the middle of the Charger defense for touchdown after touchdown.
Right, Rice scoring a little over a minute into the game, and before that day was done, Steve Young had established the Super Bowl record with 6 touchdown passes. 49-26 was the final. 2nd and 9 from the 28-yard line. Fake toss by Stewart, and then Cordell gets rid of it, and that's a case of, in this game, you still can't ground it under that circumstance with Robert Porcher coming in, and that's intentional grounding.
But what's the difference between that and what Jeff Garcia did on a previous set of downs?
I
that
think
should not be intentional grounding.
And that's why Cordell Stewart wants a clarification.
Intentional grounding, the quarterback threw the ball directly into the ground, regardless of the area. It's a loss of down.
The difference is if you throw it back toward the line of scrimmage, it's not intentional grounding. And Ron Blum is contending he just threw it into the ground.
Well, he did, but it looks a lot like what Jeff Garcia did as well. Just trying to get rid of that time bomb before it goes off in his hand.
And the penalty moves the ball back to the 14-yard line.
These defenses are starting to settle in now. They're getting their rhythm here, Al.
3rd down and 23. Yeah, we've had no scoring for about 6 minutes. Little flip to Larry Centers, and the longtime Cardinal, now a member of the Buffalo Bills, 12th year in the league, playing in his 3rd Pro Bowl, takes it up to the 20-yard line.
Larry Centers, the all-time receiving leader from the running back position. Very valuable player for a number of teams.
Timeout on the field right now, and we can tell you that tomorrow, an ABC Sports special on the men who made the NFL season. Melissa Stark talking with Tom Brady, Garrison Hurst, Michael Strahan, Donovan McNabb, Cordell Stewart. You'll see that tomorrow. It's coming your way at 1:30 Eastern and at 3 o'clock on the Pacific Coast here on ABC. Ah, there he is, Dan Fouts, 1983.
And my former teammate, John Jefferson, was with the Green Bay Packers. We shared the co-MVP award, but no car. He's got a trophy, no car.
No car? Well, Rich Gannon was the MVP last year. Could be again this year. Who knows?
And a good shot at it.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for 137. Line drive kick, fielded at the 28-yard line by Smith. And Steve Smith brings it back to the 50 off the Leckler punt. And the clock stops at 2:28. One year I was in Kansas City one year and found a permanent home here in 1980. And it's been a great thing because the players love to come over. Garcia throws incomplete.
That's a real win-win situation for the league and for Hawaii to host this game.
Ineligible man downfield is the initial call.
Number 62 was illegally downfield. The penalties declined. Second down.
Now, was that the guy that was illegally downfield?
Might have been.
Who's going to tell him?
Gene Washington will fine him $5,000.
He looked like he did into John Randall's face paint can, didn't he?
Garrison Hurst in the game and running back. Second down and 10 at the 48-yard line. And Garcia gets taken down, and that's Gary Walker of the Jacksonville, of the Titans. Gary Walker, we mentioned before, is a guy who was left exposed used to be with the Titans, now playing with the Jaguars, exposed in the draft, and of all the guys likely to wind up with the Houston Texans, he'd be the most likely.
And the amazing thing about this game, although they really bend these rules to help the offense, is sacks happen a lot, and so do interceptions in these games. Walker just overpowers, just like Ray Brown there, to pick up that sack on Jeff Garcia. Now Ray Brown's got to tell his quarterback, hey, I'm sorry, man.
Talking about offensive shows here, but look at that. More interceptions than touchdown passes in the AFC NFC Pro Bowls, and 199 sacks coming into today's game.
And I'm proud to say I threw a number of those interceptions myself.
And probably took a couple of sacks.
Absolutely.
Well, Gary Walker getting credit for that sack. Gary started his career with the Oilers and went with the franchise to Tennessee. Jacksonville picked him up a couple of years ago. And he's created a 3rd down and 20 at the 42-yard line. And Garcia throws, caught at the 50-yard line. Catch made by Byron Chamberlain, and he gets upended at the 43. Chamberlain in his first Pro Bowl went to Minnesota from Denver. 2-minute warning. AFC up by 28-13. Ah, there's our man Dendu back in Southern California.
Can you turn that off? Because it's
fresh
delayed.
off Dennis Miller Live last night on HBO. We're going to talk to Denny. We're going to ask Denny what he thought of the first half, assuming he's watched the first half.
Yeah, I
coming
can't
up
hear you.
On the halftime show. There it is. Denny and Sugar Ray will be on hand. Sugar Ray performing here. It's 4th down and 6. And the kick goes into the end zone. And they'll take it at the 20. All right, Denny, from my orange juice can and string to yours, you can hear me, right? Are you watching the first half? Have you watched it? Speak to me.
Yeah, I have watched the first half, and I have a good idea how to make the Pro Bowl work better. don't stop the clock after each incompletion. I mean, this is crazy. I was able to read James Michener's Hawaii during the first half.
And we still have the second half to come. So maybe you can get Bernard Goldberg's book and read that again.
I like your shirt, Dendu. You got to look at the T-shirt underneath, though.
Well, Bouncy, you're not supposed to notice that.
That was in the Kmart closeout sale. From the 20-yard line on first down, here's Corey Dillon for a gain of 5. So we'll check in with our man at the half, Sugar Ray, performing here at Aloha Stadium, and the NFC takes a timeout here as they attempt to get the ball back, trying to close the gap. Actually, with the brisk wind today, normally if the wind wasn't blowing at a Pro Bowl, we've seen some very hot afternoons, but it's very pleasant today.
Yeah, yesterday it rained the entire day here on Oahu, and forecast for showers today, but it's been great that it's held up. And I think it's contributed to the pace of this game and the fact that players look fresh, running around. We've had a cloud cover most of the day, so this artificial surface has not been able to bake the players as it has done so many times in the past.
Michael Strahan settling in along the defensive front here on 2nd down and 5 from the 25-yard line. Stewart out of the shotgun. Stepping up, throwing, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Marvin Harrison. Let's check in with ED again, Eric.
All right, I'm here with Keyshawn Johnson of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Keyshawn, I talked to John Lynch about the Bucs hiring a new head coach. He gave me a good answer, but I know I can always depend on you. What's going on? What's going on?
No idea. I'm just like y'all. I'm trying to figure it out, too.
Are you disappointed you don't have a coach yet?
No, I have a coach. My coach is Andy Reid.
If you could get Gruden, how do you feel about that deal?
They just got to get the best guy available, and right now he's not available, so we'll see what happens. I'm giving you all those.
You give me all of them.
That's right. I'm going to give it to you.
All right. Thanks, Keyshawn. Al?
All right. Thank you, Eric. On 3rd down and 5 now, it is Stewart handing the ball off to Larry Centers. And Centers takes it up to the 27-yard line. That's shy of the first down, and they'll stop the clock here with the NFC and get the ball back.
Keyshawn has a new book coming out. Just give me a damn coach.
Mic'd up, among others, Jeff Garcia in the first half. Here's a listen.
You came in too easy, Walker. Hey, you came in too easy. We got to give you a check a little bit. Yeah, I was throwing it.
No, not when you run best
What did Blum tell him? You were past the line of scrimmage?
Yeah.
Here's Leckler almost getting the punt block, but he gets it up into the jet stream, and it's a monster kick that bounces at the 2-yard line and goes through the end zone. The line of scrimmage was the 27. So it's a 73-yard kick. I would say the ball left his foot, Dan, at about maybe the 17-yard line, the 18-yard line. That's an 80-yard punt in the air.
And that's to go along with a 70-yarder just moments ago. The trade winds are blowing between 20 and 30 miles an hour, and he knows exactly what to do with it. Get it up, and why didn't LeVar Arrington block that punt? He could have tackled Leckler before he kicked it.
So that kick left his foot at the 17-yard line and landed on the fly at the 2-yard line. So that punt was 81 yards in the wind, in the air.
That's their second charge, timeout, the 32nd timeout.
Timeout AFC. Check in with Melissa.
Well, Rich Gannon led the Raiders to the AFC West Division title. Now, how nervous have you been all week with all the rumors about your head coach, John Gruden, going to the Buccaneers?
Well, it's a little disappointing, but hopefully it'll all work out for the Raiders. And we want John back. He's been a big part of our success, and hopefully it all gets taken care of this week.
I know you've talked to John. What's he said?
I'm the coach of the Raiders, and
he plans on coaching us next year. And, you know, we're trying to start our preparation for this upcoming season, and I'm sure he's doing the same.
All right, we shall see. Now, quick question about that loss to the Patriots. I mean, how tough was that given the way you guys played that game?
It was disappointing. You know, we felt like we had chances in the game to win the football game. And obviously, the play of the game was certainly a factor, but we felt like even before that we had chances. We just didn't get it done. But you got to tip your hat to them. They had a great year, and they got hot at the right time.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. As Terrell Owens makes the catch here up to the 42-yard line of the NFC, going without a huddle. 1st and 10, 48 seconds to play in the half. Garcia finds time, throws, and the pass is incomplete to Torrey Holt. Interesting how players have to do it. They work the edges. They not necessarily completely skirt the issue, but with a situation like the Gruden situation, with so many rumors afloat, with so many things going on, just to listen to Keyshawn talking about it and Rich Gannon talking about it, you know, they're working the circumference here.
Yeah, and you know, you can feel that they just want it over with. They just want an answer. Players are players, coaches are coaches. You hear that all the time. Well, players are already thinking about next year and what moves the teams are going to make. But you can't make any move unless you have a head coach who's steering the ship. And both these ships are in turmoil now. I mean, the Raiders situation.
Some sort of illegal defense on the AFC. It's 15 yards. It's a first down.
Some sort.
Well, Blum says it because that word comes down from upstairs. So the NFL observer, Larry Pacatello, is upstairs. If he spots something, he then calls down to the umpire. So whatever it was, I don't know, maybe it was lost in the transmission, but it was some sort of illegal defense. Larry on the right making the calls from upstairs. He's made a couple of them today. 1st and 10 now from the 44-yard line as Garcia throws, and that's incomplete. 36 ticks remaining.
Boy, and Garcia got dusted by Gary Walker after he let that one go. This is not always the greatest situation for quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl, because most of the time offensive linemen are chosen because they block for 1,000-yard rushers. They're not necessarily the best pass blockers in the league. They're normally the best run blockers. But on the defensive side, you got defensive linemen who are great pass rushers. They got the big numbers in sacks, so it's a little bit skewed toward the defense there.
2nd and 10. Garcia stepping up, hit as he throws, lofts it into the wind, and the wind knocks it down, intended for Terrell Owens. Wind coming from the Eva direction. See, Eva's to the left, Diamond Head to the right. You know, we're sitting on the Mackay side of the stadium.
Absolutely.
Seaside.
Yes.
Across the way, the mountain side.
The best seat in the house.
On the Mackay 50.
I'd say this wind is about a 3 clubber.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Third and 10. Garcia throws, and that's incomplete. Certainly a 3 clubber over at Waialae, where they whacked that P around at the Sony Open about a month ago.
It's still in great shape, isn't it?
You bet. So it's 4th down and 10 now for the NFC. Andy Reid, one time on the Green Bay staff under Mike Holmgren. Boy, hasn't Mike spawned a whole generation of good young coaches, much as Bill Walsh did in the 80s. Garcia throws, and that is Keyshawn Johnson making the catch at the 31-yard line.
Keyshawn Johnson beating Ty Law, a couple of co-MVPs back in '99 of this game. Deep out route. Keyshawn knows he's got to get deep down the field to pick up enough to get that first down, and Ty not quick enough to make the break on the ball, but timing there between Keyshawn Johnson and Jeff Garcia was perfect.
So 17 seconds. The NFC pretty much at the moment in field goal range, albeit a long field goal into the wind for Akers. Looking for 7. And that pass is incomplete. Intended for Owens, and only 12 seconds now remain in the opening half.
This is surprising. You think with 12 seconds that the NFC would have time to get Akers just a little bit closer. And Andy Reid sends out his kicker.
Toyota halftime show coming up, and they do send for a 49-yard field goal attempt Akers into the game. Todd Sauerbrunn will hold it. And Akers into the wind. The kick is good. Wow. When it's breezy, swing easy.
Boy, he did, and he drilled it. Made it by 10 yards.
And that makes it 28-16.
He's got a career long of 53 yards. Does David Akers. That is a very easy swing. Beautiful.
And let's check in with Melissa Stark.
Well, Al, Shannon Sharpe broke the record for all-time receptions by a tight end this year. You are the leader, but the big question for you, there's been a lot of speculation. Will you be back next year?
Well, right now, I'm kind of leaning towards coming back. I've come out here and been around the guys, you know, and I realize how much I still truly love the game, and I love playing. I love getting up, coming to work. Hopefully everything works out in Baltimore, but if it doesn't, it's nice to know you have options and can go somewhere else to play, because I feel like I can still play.
Your quarterback, Elvis Grbac, was heavily criticized at times this year. Does he have the confidence, the respect of his teammates?
Really doesn't matter what I think. You know, Brian has made a decision, said, hey, that's my guy. And so, you know, I support Mike, support Brian, whatever he decides to do. He's earned the respect because he's won a Super Bowl there. So he's bought some time. But obviously, you know, Elvis has to play better in that position. He understands that, and we realize that.
Shannon, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Melissa, and this is the way the half will end, barring a penalty, with Jermaine Lewis running it back out to the 45-yard line. So a pretty freewheeling, very high-scoring first half for the Pro Bowl. And the teams are leaving the field. Apparently there is a flag, but Ron Blum has either picked it up or will ignore it.
That's play. That's the end of the first half.
End of the half.
Halftime score, AFC 28.
End of the half with the score, the AFC 28 and the NFC 16. Toyota halftime show coming up after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations. From the University of Utah, bringing it back out to the 26-yard line as we take a look at the numbers for the first 30 minutes of play.
Now we've had 5 total touchdowns in the game. David Akers has kicked 3 field goals. But, you know, NFC's got to do a little bit better job running the ball. Only 8 yards in that first half. Rich Gannon is well on his way to picking up another MVP trophy, completing 8 of 10 for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And let's see if the NFC can get something started rushing with Marshall Faulk in the backfield. Jeff Garcia of the 49ers is the quarterback. Kurt Warner played the first quarter, and now Garcia begins through the air, going to the outside, hitting the Arizona Cardinals' David Boston off of the 31-yard line. The Cardinals, of course, don't play very often on national telecasts or major regional games, so Boston pretty much of an unknown guy, but look at that size and the speed, and of course with Jake Plummer at the other end, he put up some big numbers this year.
Put on some weight in the offseason, primarily in his upper body to give him the strength to get away from corners, break through that bump and run, but he's got speed.
And a 16.3 yards per catch average, which is these days.
And 1,598 yards receiving for David Boston. The selection obviously is well deserved, but this is that surprising speed for the Arizona Cardinals. And with Jake Plummer now, this guy, the two of them combined for that great Rose Bowl when Jake Plummer went in, put Arizona State ahead. Then David Boston came back to catch the winning pass from Joe Germain. but now they're teammates and really productive for the Arizona Cardinals.
Dave's dad, of course, as they measure here, very close to a first down, and they do have it. David's father, Byron, an NFL official. In fact, he was involved. He was one of the guys that had to make the ruling in the Music City Miracle play when the Tennessee Titans knocked off the Buffalo Bills a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we got the Olympics, and you're still talking about miracles, aren't you?
It's that time. That was great. The U.S. hockey team from 1980.
Yeah.
Lighting the torch. As on first down, it's Marshall Faulk picking up a yard. Great line by Mike Eruzione, the captain of that team and the hero. Very funny guy. You know, through the years, Mike said, you know, he said, the great thing about it is when I get a little down, I'll put that tape in, I'll watch it. He said, and every time I shoot, the puck goes in.
Yeah, and we all believe in miracles, too. We just hope we get some bit of the same success this time around, don't we?
Yeah. Second down and 10 from the 36-yard line. Garcia fumbles, picks the ball back up on the run, and then just throws, and it's incomplete. And we check in with Eric Dickerson.
Here with Kurt Warner. Not Kurt. In the Pro Bowl game, quarterbacks really don't run quarterback sneaks.
No,
Man,
they
did
don't.
you want to run that?
I'm not supposed to get hit out here. It's supposed to be a nice little pocket in there, sit back there and make plays. But, hey, get a first down, get a first down. We got that big all-star in the backfield, and they're giving me the ball on a quarterback sneak. I don't know.
Now, the Rams got to the Super Bowl this year. Didn't win it. What do they have to do to get back to the Super Bowl?
Consistency. I mean, I think that's a big thing. It's tough to do it in this league, to do it consistently week in and week out. And we've got the talent. There's no question about that. And we're going to have the talent next year. But it's a matter of staying at that high level and staying consistent. And if we do that, there's no telling how long we can do this and how many times we can get back. But it's tough to do that week in and week out at this level.
Thanks, Kurt. Al?
All right, thank you, Eric. Terrell Owens just made that catch, but he's a little bit short of the first down across the 45-yard line. And the NFC will send in the punting group to kick it away on 4th and 1.
Yeah, I would say the Rams have the talent to get back there. You really got to give Lovie Smith and that defense a credit. What a job they did turning around a horrible defense from a year ago to the third best in the NFL and all the way to the Super Bowl.
Rams, I'm sure, will be the preseason choice of many to win the Super Bowl following next season. Fair catch called for and made at the 17-yard line by Jermaine Lewis after the sour bun punt. And a couple of the Rams going over what happened last week, 28-16 AFC. A little more access here in the Pro Bowl, of course. So our man Zach is down there with his camera right in the huddle. Steady cam in the AFC huddle. Our man Zach could play left guard, hold his own.
Yeah, and he knows when to get out of there, too. He's starting to get into his back pedal now.
1st and 10 at the 17-yard line for Cordell Stewart and the AFC. We'll see Stewart in the third quarter and then Tom Brady in the fourth as Curtis Martin takes the ball up to the 20-yard line. It's been a great year for Curtis Martin. Came into the league out of the University of Pittsburgh as a Patriot in '95, then went to the Jets, and there it is. He has more yardage than Emmitt Smith, Jerome Bettis, or anybody else since he came into the league.
64 career touchdowns on the ground, 8 more through the air, and all those yards and durability and reliability. That's Curtis Martin.
2nd and 7 from the 21-yard line. Stewart flings one into the NFC bench intended for his teammate Hines Ward. One Steeler to another, but not even close.
That ball might have hurt somebody.
Yeah.
On the NFC bench. That was a dart.
Well, there's a guy we're going to take a look at, I'm sure, on Monday night next year. The Bears have not been on Monday Night Football for a number of seasons, but off their great year, Brian Urlacher. Olin Kreutz also in the game for the Chicago Bears. We'll be taking a look at that team. Next year, of course, the Bears, because of the renovation at Soldier Field, will play their home games downstate in Champaign at the stadium that houses the University of Illinois team. Larry Centers makes the catch here. So the Bears, in effect, are playing 16 road games next year.
Very similar to the situation that the Tennessee Oilers found themselves in when they moved from Houston. Played their games in the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. About a 3-4 hour drive from Nashville. Well, that's what the Big Cat has to look forward to. You wonder if they'll fly or get on that bus and go down to Champaign.
I wonder.
Bet you James wants to fly.
Yes, he does. 1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. And end around. This is Hines Ward. And Barber slows him down. Then Ward stays on his feet. And finally he gets finished off just shy of the 30-yard line by Jeremiah Trotter. Cordell Stewart entering the books this year. Only 2 players in the league with a 70-yard run, a 70-yard pass, and a 70-yard reception. And our longtime booth mate, good pal Frank Gifford would be the other. Only Frank and Cordell Stewart are on that list.
Doesn't take long to take that roll, huh?
2nd and 10 now for the AFC from the 29-yard line. Little flip underneath. Troy Brown, and Brown up to the 40-yard line. 1st down.
Yeah, Cordell Stewart was a legitimate MVP and comeback player of the year candidate thanks to his offensive coordinator, Mike Mularkey. Stewart operated an offense that took advantage of his superior athletic skills and had enough fun doing so. He led the Steelers all the way to the AFC Championship game. We saw that 90-yard touchdown reception to Bobby Shaw there. But Stewart matured this year, showed the mental toughness, and then mix in a little bit of fun. What a great year.
1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. AFC up by 12 as Martin switches to the outside. And Curtis gets around the corner and is very close to a 1st down. They'll mark it at the 50-yard line. Lost the ball as he went out of bounds as we check in with Eric Dickerson.
Thanks, Al. I'm here with Brian Urlacher of the Chicago Bears. Brian, the Bears were 5-11 a year ago. This year they were 13-3. What was the big difference with the team this year?
I think I just started believing we could win. We got a few breaks early in the season. We won 6 games in a row right at the beginning. Guys got confident that we could win some games. We started playing better and better every week.
Now, the Bears have had a great tradition of middle linebackers. Dick Buckets, Mike Singletary. Now, Brian Urlacher, are you trying to follow that tradition?
I'd love to. I got a long way to go. I'm just starting. People always want to compare me to them, but I'm so young right now. I'm just trying to get better every week and trying to see where I can end up.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Al?
Real up-and-comer, Brian Urlacher. Bears securing a number 2 seed in the playoffs, but then could not hold off the Eagles when they came into Soldier Field. 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line. And Martin with a lot of room to roam, and Curtis with a 1st down. So the AFC pounding out the yardage on the ground here in the 3rd period.
And they're having success on the left side behind big Jonathan Ogden. The one thing about all great running backs is they have the ability to slow the game down to their speed. The patience needed as Ogden kicks out, centers leads up, and down the field is Troy Brown. Another 1st down for the AFC.
Years since a Jet running back started in a Pro Bowl game. Since Freeman McNeil came out of UCLA. Halfback pass here by Martin, but a little too long for Hines Ward. Curtis has had a lot of success in his career on the halfback pass.
And Bill Cowher knows it only too well. The coach of the AFC saw Curtis throw a touchdown pass against the Steelers this year. That is a pretty good pocket. Look at that offensive line in front of him. But not enough air under the ball. Didn't throw it high enough in the air so that Hines could adjust to this pass. Champ Bailey beaten initially, but good recovery makeup time there for Champ to get back.
2nd and 10 now at the 37. Play clock is ticking down to 0, so Stewart calls a timeout for the AFC.
Descriptions or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Tomorrow you can check out an ABC Sports special, The Men Who Made the NFL Season, as Melissa Stark talks with Tom Brady, Garrison Hurst, Michael Strahan, Donovan McNabb, and Cordell Stewart. That's tomorrow on ABC Sports. Dano, that looks very inviting.
Yeah, it won't be long now. Keep that running game going, boys.
We were talking to Bill Cowher yesterday, who's coached in 3 of these now. He said the Pro Bowl, it's a game that sort of starts slowly. Then you have a couple of big plays, opens up a little bit. Then it gets competitive. And then it's so true. We watched it through the years, especially when you get down to the 4th quarter and it gets close. It's 2nd and 10 after the timeout. Stewart throws, and that's a catch made by Marvin Harrison. But we've seen it all of a sudden. You know, everybody says, oh, it's just an exhibition game and they're playing street football. But as crazy as it sounds, in this era of multi-million-dollar contracts, that goofy $15,000 difference becomes big to these guys at the end of the game.
And now so many of these players bring family, and lots of family. And so the family all week are shopping, they're buying things, they're having a good time, they're taking advantage of all the islands have to offer, but that's expensive. And now these guys are thinking about,
right,
hey, you know, we're going to need that extra 15 when we get that hotel bill.
3rd down and 5 at the 32-yard line. Halfway through the 3rd period. Stewart. And that's caught, and breaking a tackle and picking up a first down is Hines Ward. One Steeler hits another to move the change to the 23-yard line.
Good timing between Stewart and Hines Ward, working on Champ Bailey. Missed tackle here for Champ. This is one of the most deceivingly strong receivers, tough guy receiver, Hines Ward. Best blocker in the NFL, but now getting recognition as a pass catcher.
From the 23 on first down. Stewart sending it back to Martin. Curtis cuts it back inside the 15. Takes the ball to the 10-yard line, and that'll set up a first down and goal. Larry Centers, as he has so often through his 12-year career, throws a block that springs him.
Larry Centers, the receiving type of fullback, shows that he can get the job done, leading Martin around the corner. Going to find Champ Bailey, knock him out. I just love the way great running backs cut across the grain like Martin did there. Just seems that they have eyes on the side of their head sometimes to find where that open area is. There's the block by Centers.
Under 6 minutes to play in the 3rd. The AFC up by 12, trying to pad their advantage. And on 1st and goal, Cordell gets wrapped up by Hugh Douglas.
Hugh Douglas.
And the AFC may be looking for a face mask infraction, but there's no flag.
The quickness we've seen already from Hugh Douglas is evident here as he gets inside and is going to beat the block of Curtis Martin. Well, that's a mismatch. If this were a regular season game, we'd call that bad game planning. We'll give Curtis the pass on that one.
His left hand on his mask as he was going down, but no call. 2nd down and goal at the 17-yard line. 5:20 to play in the 3rd. Stewart, quarterback draw. Cordell takes off, regains his balance, gets all the way down to the 3-yard line before Jeremiah Trotter stops him that short of the goal line.
This is why Cordell Stewart is such a valuable weapon, especially in the red zone. On the quarterback draw, makes a few miss and takes it all the way inside the 5.
So Cordell trying to guide them all the way down the field on a drive that began at the AFC 18-yard line. Now they are inside the 3. 3rd down and goal. No play.
Delay a game.
Yeah.
Delay game, American Football Conference, 5 yards would be 3rd down.
You know, that's unusual because you have the Pittsburgh coaching staff over there calling the plays into Cordell. He's used to hearing the terminology, used to hearing a familiar voice, and yet not aware where the clocks are, the game clock. It's called for delay of game.
Small back to the 8-yard line.
3rd and goal now from the 8. His main man Ward goes wide to the left. You've got Marvin Harrison wide to the right. 2 wide outs are there, and instead they're going to keep it on the ground. They're going to let Curtis do it, and he won't, because that's Bryant Young making his presence felt, and the San Francisco 49er defensive tackle wraps him up. And so it's 4th down, and the field goal group comes in.
Interesting call by Tom Clements. Wonder if he thought it might have been 2nd down there.
The play was actually, it was Leroy Glover who made that last play. Young and Glover both wearing 97.
And having the similar color helmet.
Absolutely.
And similar impact as ball players.
Now a 29-yard field goal attempt by Jason Elam is good. Is no good. No good. Wide to the left. So Elam a little chip shot. And after the AFC moves all the way down from the 18 to a 1st and goal and get inside the 3, they can't even cash in on an easy field goal. All for naught. The lead is still 12. Again, if you look at number 5, Donovan McNabb of the Philadelphia Eagles. One of the league's emerging stars. And he comes into the game as the NFC's 3rd quarterback.
2nd time he's been a participant in this ballgame, both as alternates. Replaced Kurt Warner last year, Brett Favre this year.
And the Syracuse product on 1st down hits Owens for a gain of 7. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Al, you always hear about players bringing their families, other teammates to the Pro Bowl. Well, John Lynch has brought an extra special guest. DJ Krause, he's 90 years old from St. Petersburg, Florida, and he's battling cancer. He's a huge Bucs fan, and his one wish was to come to the Pro Bowl. What's been the best part about this week?
Being at the game and being in Hawaii.
Oh, great. I'm sure you've had a great time. John, how did this all come about?
We were called at our foundation, the John Lynch Foundation, and a fund, the Children's Dream Fund, told us about DJ's story and asked us if we could do something, and it's just been great seeing he and his family over here. He's living the Hawaiian experience. He's gone boogie board, and he's enjoying the game down here on the field, having a great time, and he's a great kid.
Well, great. A very special trip. Have fun.
All right.
Back to you, Al.
Yeah, that's really neat. John Lynch is really a real class guy, class character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Terrific.
So many players these days have foundations doing so many great charitable things. John leading the way.
3rd down and 3 from the 27-yard line. And that's caught by Alstott, and Lynch's teammate in Tampa Bay picks up a 1st down before he's run out by Kendrell Bell. What kind of a day has it been for Jeff Garcia, the predecessor to McNabb? Listen in. Take your breath away.
The thing you get out of that is that on every time a quarterback gets hit, there are 2 hits. There's the one when the player gets you, and then there's one when the ground gets you. Not a bad day statistically for Jeff, but physically, not the way he wanted to spend a Hawaiian vacation.
Who laid the biggest lick ever on you?
In this game?
In any game.
Boy, you know, there's just too many to count. Somebody in silver and black, I'm sure.
2nd and 3 from the 37-yard line. Here is Marshall Faulk, stretching, reaching, trying to get that 1st down. Talked earlier about Curtis Martin and what he's done. Then you have Marshall Faulk, yards from scrimmage, 44-game span, which is almost 3 complete seasons. And this encompasses his whole Ram career. He's missed 4 games with injuries. And there it is. Most yards from scrimmage over a 44-game span.
It's kind of like when the planets get in alignment. It's when a coach, a system, a great player, or 2 or 3, as the Rams have. That's why you get those unbelievable numbers.
From the 41-yard line, this is Johnson picking up about 7. Today with a cold guava juice. And we'll end it with a cold guava juice. Or two. 2nd and 3 at the 49-yard line. You know, you talk about the planets in alignment. They were pretty aligned when he was a rookie, Dan, because as a rookie with the Colts, he wound up as the MVP in this game.
Had 180 yards. In fact, still holds the Pro Bowl record for the longest run in the Pro Bowl. It's great to see him here too. You know, he's working on a knee that's less than wonderful. But Marshall Faulk is here at the Pro Bowl.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter. The AFC maintaining its advantage 28-16. And our coverage of the 2002 Pro Bowl returns from Honolulu after this from our ABC stations. Annapolis is the site. So, Dano, here we go. The final 15 minutes of the season, barring overtime.
No way on overtime. Great to see Donovan McNabb in here. I expect to see him make some of those spectacular plays, huh?
From the 45-yard line on 1st down, McNabb a lot of time, guns it over the middle, hits Franks, but he drops the ball. Bubba Franks, the Packer tight end, couldn't hold on. Incomplete 2nd down.
Like Rodney Harrison of the Chargers came in, delivered a big hit from his safety position. Again, it's a very simple zone defense for the AFC as McNabb, with time to throw, is going to try to squeeze it into his big tight end over the middle. And watch Harrison come.
This lodges it. 2nd and 10. Going deep for Owens, and the pass is right there. He makes the catch and has a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. Perfect throw. Donovan McNabb to the 49ers. Terrell Owens right on the money down the sideline.
Owens working against Delta O'Neal with a little in fake and then the speed down the sidelines. Good concentration as Lawyer Malloy was coming over to help out.
So here's McNabb, his team down by 12, trying to draw them to within a touchdown on 1st and goal. Split back set here. 1st and Allstott in the backfield. On a roll, McNabb, a little shovel, and it is picked off. He shoveled it right into the arms of Junior Seau. Quiet day for Seau, but sooner or later with Junior Seau, he gets into the middle of the action.
And Donovan McNabb might have scored if he holds on to the ball, but he pitches back into the middle, and there's Junior.
So here he is, the Super Bowl MVP. 6 days later, in Honolulu, after the dream season, Tom Brady comes into the Pro Bowl.
And it looks like he's disguising his bags under his eyes with face paint there. He has not slept very much since that wonderful afternoon he had in the Big Easy.
Well, he went from New Orleans, I think he went to Orlando.
Yeah.
To tape the Disney World spot, then to Boston for the parade,
right,
and then to Honolulu. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line as Priest Holmes picks up about 3. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Al, the 5th member of this year's Hall of Fame class, the late George Allen, the former Rams and Redskins head coach, here representing him, his son Bruce. What would your father have thought of this honor?
He'd be so proud for the players and the coaches that worked with him, because he loved the game. He loved the camaraderie he had with all of his players in college and pro, and he'd be real proud.
He loved veteran players. So how would he have dealt with today's game when you have to play so many young guys?
Well, I think he would have loved it. I think free agency was made for someone like my father, because you can always find a guy who will come in and fit with the team and help you win. So I think he would like it.
Changing gears a little bit, you're a top executive with the Raiders. Are negotiations or talks still going on between the Buccaneers and the Raiders concerning John Gruden?
Well, I didn't hear the whole question, but, you know, if it has to do with that Tampa speculation, I think John is like every head coach in the NFL. He's under contract, and he'll coach for that team in 2002.
The first part was, are negotiations still ongoing?
With who? No, John, at the end of the year, we addressed that with John, and we feel real comfortable where we're at right now.
All right, so your lips are sealed, basically. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you, Melissa. As Jermaine Lewis takes the ball to the 39-yard line for a 1st down.
Jermaine Lewis, who voted into the game as a kick returner, but Jermaine Lewis, as well as a great special teams player, very important to Brian Billick's offense to get him the ball as much as possible. But again, an unprotected player. Maybe going to Houston.
Good witness stand performance by Bruce, by the way. It's Brady from the 39-yard line, and the pass is incomplete. Your Honor, I didn't hear the entire question.
Have you stopped beating your head coach?
Second down and 10. Now, we've been talking about it throughout the day. The Tampa Bay situation, no head coach there yet. John Gruden's agent telling the Raiders that there's no way that John would come back after next season, which will be the 5th and final year of his existing contract. So a lot of things can happen between now and then, but that's where it stands at the moment. Second down and 10 from the 39-yard line. Holmes, 22 to 35.
It's been a pretty good 12 months for graduates at Sarah High School in San Mateo, California. Lynn Swan was voted to the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs. Tom Brady, of course, I'm not sure he topped them all, but he certainly surprised us all with his wonderful season and wonderful Super Bowl.
That's where we are. Third down 6.
Third down 6 now from the 35-yard line. Brady hanging in there, and then the pass is incomplete. Intended for Jermaine Lewis. Brady threw only 3 passes in his rookie season. Then came this after the Bledsoe injury.
And the thing about his numbers, the completions are outstanding. That's a great percentage. And, of course, in the postseason, similar type of numbers, but he made the plays when he had to. None more important than the winning drive to set up Adam Vinatieri.
Now a 53-yard field goal attempt by Jason Elam, which will be a record for the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl, but he misses. So Elam, who shares with Tom Dempsey the record for the longest regular season field goal, 63 yards, has missed back-to-back attempts, and it stays a 12-point cushion. If you log on now to NFL.com, you can vote for today's player of the game. Your vote will count toward deciding the winner. So you can log on right now. Part of the process to determine the player of the game. Last year it was Rich Gannon. Could be Rich Gannon again today because he had a hot start. 8 for 10 for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dano, the Mano. It's appropriate you're next to Kellen Winslow as well.
Yeah.
McNabb fires to Hurst out in the flat. Garrison to the 44-yard line. Garrison Hurst, who suffered what appeared to be a career-ending ankle injury in a playoff game at Atlanta a couple of years ago, and then a spectacular comeback this season.
It had to be the feel-good story, maybe of all time in the NFL, because this ankle injury forced him out of football for 2 years. And all the surgeries he had to be able to come back, not only to run again, to play football again, but to make it all the way to the Pro Bowl.
McNabb now throwing it a little too high, and that forced Ryan McNeil into a situation where he could lay a lick on Torrey Holt reaching for it.
Torrey Holt trying to make time stand still as he sticks up one hand. But Ryan McNeil, number 47, this is a freebie for a defensive back. All the ribs are exposed.
Second and 10 now at the 44-yard line. And that's incomplete. Check in with Melissa.
Well, Al, Curtis Martin was the Jets MVP this year for the 3rd straight time. Curtis, you go about your job so quietly. Despite all the success, do you ever feel like you don't get the recognition you deserve?
Well, you know, I'd rather be considered the most underrated than the most overrated. You know, that's my philosophy. I want to go in there and I want to work hard. It doesn't matter who doesn't recognize it. I recognize it.
The Jets made it back to the playoffs this year for the first time since 1998. How do you guys build on that going into next year?
Well, you know, we all left with a sour taste in our mouth. We feel that we were better than what we performed this year. We feel that we could have went further. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know, you always have that story, but hopefully next year.
You're a huge Bill Parcells fan. Are you surprised that he didn't come back?
No, I'm not surprised. Bill has done so much for this game. He deserves to do whatever he wants to do. He can come back or he can stay home. Whatever he decides, that's on Bill, and he deserves it.
Last question, what happened on that halfback pass?
Man, I told Hines to run full speed, and I'm just joking. I just overthrew him a little bit.
All right, thanks, Chris.
All right.
All right, thank you, Melissa. And meanwhile, Donovan McNabb scrambling and buying time and getting free was Torrey Holt, but the pass was underthrown on that last play, and so it's 4th down.
Here you go for your field goal, Al.
Well, look at this. Now, this is going to be a 62-yarder with the wind. David Akers of the Philadelphia Eagles will try to do it.
NFC.
And the NFC getting their right personnel on the field will take a timeout. So a 62-yard attempt coming up when we come back. Here comes Akers now. The NFC AFC Pro Bowl record for a field goal is 51 yards. Morton Anderson and Jason Hansen. So this would break that record by 11 yards. This is a 62-yard attempt with the wind. And the kick is no good. Had the accuracy, not the distance. And so the score remains the same. 28-16, American Conference. Saturday afternoon. Well, there's the newest bobblehead doll, the Houston Texan doll.
Love you, dark blue.
Texans beginning play next year. A week from Monday will be the expansion draft. And we will see the Texans make their debut as you take a look at another big Texan, Bruce Matthews. Houston plays its first ever game in the Hall of Fame game in Canton next August, which is a staple here on ABC Sports. So we'll see the Texans against, I believe it's the Giants.
New York Giants, you bet.
Meanwhile, the AFC at the 48. You know who's nervous right now? Some of our friends who like to bet the over. We had a 34-point first quarter. The over-under is 44.5, and those guys who bought mansions in Beverly Hills 2 hours ago are calling for the inspector to take another look right now. And the pass is intercepted at the 24-yard line. Picked off by Champ Bailey of the Washington Redskins. Bailey across the 50. Look at this run back. Reminds you of Eric Allen with Philadelphia a few years ago. Takes it all the way back to the 30.
Champ Bailey at the end of it had a chance to lateral the ball to Sammy Knight, who might have taken it in the end zone. I think that after Bailey makes the interception on Tom Brady, he's going to run about 6 miles here, setting up blockers, cutting across the field, and carrying the ball like the pineapple. Right about here, though, if he laterals to the outside, and he's looking out there right now, Sammy Knight might have taken it in.
Now the Nationals at the 31-yard line with 10 minutes to play in the game. And Donovan McNabb buying time, surveying, great protection. Then he just takes off, and he has a lot of room inside the 20, and then finally forced out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
Now, even in the Pro Bowl, conditioning comes into effect. Look at the pass rush, or lack of it, for the American Conference here. This is about 6 seconds, and then he decides to take off and pick up a whole bunch of yardage.
Shot from the sky cam, hovering high above the field.
That's a great picture, isn't it?
It is. And we find that gizmo quite nicely. From the 19-yard line on first down. This one from Skycam as well. That pass was tipped and incomplete, intended for Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, pass is intended for Keyshawn Johnson.
And it'll be 2nd down and 10 now for the NFC. Kurt Warner started the game. Warner today didn't throw very many passes down the field, just a bunch of swing passes, but I'm sure he's looking forward to giving that thumb a good long several-month rest. 2nd and 10 from the 19-yard line as McNabb slings it inside the 10 to Keyshawn, who takes it to the 5, and that'll make it 1st and goal.
And Keyshawn's used to this type of offense, catching 106 balls in the regular season and 1 touchdown. But he led the NFL in catches inside the 5-yard line like this one.
First half goal to go for the NFC.
Working against Deltha O'Neal and getting the ball just to the 5-yard line. Frustrating year for Keyshawn as far as touchdown receptions is concerned.
1st and goal, ball at the 5. McNabb scrambling, then he thought about throwing it away and couldn't. Taken down by Marcellus Wiley. Fewest TD receptions in a season with a guy in triple figures. Larry Centers used to hold the mark at 2. And the Key now has that mark with 1. In the meantime, you've got Big Cat Williams, who was shaken up on that last play. And timeout as they work on Williams. And let's check in with ED.
Thanks, Al. John, I'm here with John Stallworth. John, 4 Super Bowls with the Steelers. How does that compare with being inducted into the Hall of Fame?
About on the even keel. You know, the 4 Super Bowls, excited about that. Great times during our time in the Steelers during the 70s. But to look back on that and say that I played well enough during my career that to warrant this honor, fantastic. Fantastic.
Like, what one person had the biggest influence on your NFL career and you getting inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Gosh, I don't think I can narrow it down to one, Eric. Certainly my parents are there, my wife are there, a lot of my teammates and the efforts over the years and in college and doing the pros. Can't narrow it down to one, but a lot of folks were responsible for my being here.
Thank you, John. Al?
Thank you, Eric. Junior Seau breaking up that last play, the pass drop by Garrison Hurst. How about 4 guys from that 74 draft of the Steelers now in the Hall of Fame?
And John Stallworth, I was lucky enough to play with him in a couple of these Pro Bowls, but in watching those highlights, you could almost see that he could play and succeed as well today as he did back then. Deltha O'Neal is going to just reach out and grab Keyshawn, and our referee right here, well, he's looking at something else, I guess. But John Stallworth, very deserving of his induction to the Hall of Fame.
McNabb, and finally they get it in. It's Terrell Owens for the touchdown.
You know, you give a normal quarterback time to throw, he's going to find somebody. But when you have a guy with the mobility of McNabb, you almost guaranteed he's going to find Terrell Owens. He's going to work across the middle and then back to the outside. But watch the lane right there that McNabb has and the huge target in Terrell Owens.
Well, Owens is going to get a look for player of the game. That's 6 catches for Owens for 93 yards and a touchdown. And now Akers will try to make it a 5-point lead, and he does, to make it 28-23 with 8:12 remaining in the 4th quarter. McNabb to Owens, 5-point lead.
There he goes. Yeah! Get him, Jesse.
Dexter Coakley with a little advice, telling him to shut it down. Bruised knee. And there he is out on the kickoff coverage team.
Right.
Trotter. Wow.
Playing with it all season, he's telling Coakley. Akers wearing his wedding ring?
Apparently so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good eyes, Al.
Spot those wedding rings a mile away, Dano. 27-yard line. Troy Brown and his band of renown back up to the 27-yard line comes the New England Patriots. This Pro Bowl game from home.
Pretty entertaining ball game this afternoon for the fans here.
51 points on the board. Terrell Owens with 6 grabs, including that touchdown reception, and now Brady leading his team from the 27-yard line. Little toss back to the Cincinnati Bengals. Corey Dillon up to the 34-yard line. Dillon breaking Walter Payton's mark, most rushing yards in a game a couple of seasons back against Denver.
Interesting talking to Bill Cowher and his impressions of these players. He is so impressed with Corey Dillon, with the size, the speed that is so deceptive, and he gets to face him twice every year.
Sure. 2nd down and 4 at the 33-yard line. Dillon. And I think this is the best thing about a game like the Pro Bowl. Here's a guy like Dillon. You just don't see him very often because the Bengals infrequently play in games that get a lot of exposure geographically, and then you're able to watch him and see what he's all about in a game like the Pro Bowl.
And this is what he's all about. The combination of strength and a little bit of determination there too. Then the speed as he runs away from guys down the sidelines. A lot of people were surprised that Dillon re-signed with the Bengals. Would be a major star in a lot of teams.
1st and 10, the ball at the 38-yard line. Dillon again, tripping up. Turf tripped him up at the 25-yard line. And that's a 1st down.
Well, the Skycam's going to give us a real good look at this hole over the right side here. But then he just kind of got Hawaii legs there. One big run and then trying to get a second one and tripped in the sand.
Jet lag. AFC averaging over 7 yards per rush, dominating on the ground, but leading by only 5 under 6 minutes to play. The ball is at the 22-yard line. Dillon again. Turns it back up. Goes to the 21. Here's Melissa.
Well, Al, Cordell Stewart was the Steelers MVP this season. Cordell, after the last 3 years, all the low points, everything you've been through, how gratifying is it to be at your first Pro Bowl?
It's beautiful, man. You know, when you can go out and accomplish something that obviously no one else can give you credit for trying to do or getting accomplished, and just for yourself, most importantly, and for my teammates and all. So, you know, it's beautiful, man. You know, it's not about all the crazy stuff. It's about this right here, which is having fun and enjoying yourself with other guys. And just being here right now is an honor.
Now, a couple minutes ago, you were talking to Tom Brady, giving him some tips. What kind of tips can you give to the Super Bowl MVP?
Well, I mean, you know, he's still young. I mean, he had the opportunity to go out and be a part of a great system and take his team to a Super Bowl and obviously get the MVP award. But now he's a part of something different. Something that I'm very familiar with, which is our offense. And being that he threw the interception, you know, and now the score is all of a sudden 28-23. You know, at first everybody's talking to him, hey, Tom, how you doing? Congratulations. And all of a sudden he gets quiet all of a sudden because he throws a pick. And I'm like, man, don't worry about it. It's okay. You know, feel like the world's on your shoulder. Hey, look, I'm going to help you. I carry it with you. Just go ahead out there and just do your thing, man. Just hit the check downs. If you don't like it, throw it away. Don't try to be perfect. Just have fun.
You've certainly had that feeling before. Thanks, Cordell.
Hey, Melissa, you've got a new nickname, you know, on the crew. 3rd down and 8 at the 20. And this is caught by Priest Holmes. Melissa, you don't mind if we call you man from now on, do you?
I've been called a lot of things. I don't know if I've been called man before.
3 times.
I guess that's a compliment, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, you're one of the guys. What can I tell you?
Check Cordell's eyes.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Some man.
What do you think he's going to call Eric? That was neat. 38-yard field goal attempt for Jason Elam. And it's good. And that makes it an 8-point game. Uh-oh. What do you smell? 3:41 to play. flash. What's your call? Set?
See,
I agree with you.
There's the green flash coming. Keep your eye on it. No, I'll tell you.
Okay. Beautiful Hawaii. Turned into a gorgeous day as the AFC tries to protect its lead, and Elam Smith is taken by Steve Smith from the 8-yard line. Swing into the outside, turning the corner. Flag comes in, and he's out of bounds up at about the 40. Ron Blum and his crew officiating final football game of the season. And this will pin the NFC back on the holding call.
Number 33 of the return team holding during the return. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Ron was quite an athlete at College of Marin in Marin County in San Francisco Bay Area. 3 sports stars, basketball, baseball, and played a little bit of quarterback.
Great golfer.
Absolutely. As good as Arnold Palmer.
Yes. Used to be. From the 21-yard line, first down for the NFC is McNabb. His team down by 8, slings it incomplete. Intended for Terrell Owens. It'll be second down and 10. 3:23 left in the fourth. Let's go to Eric.
Thanks, Al. I'm here with Aeneas Williams. Aeneas, 10 years in the league, 7 Pro Bowls. Played with the Rams this year. First Super Bowl. You didn't win it. But tell me, how was that Super Bowl experience?
It was tremendous, Eric. It was to have such a turnaround as far as a career, to go from the Cardinals and then play with the Rams the first year in the Super Bowl. Tremendous experience. Enjoyed every bit of it, and would have obviously loved to come out on the other end.
Now, if he could do it all over again, that last drive, what would the defense do different, you think?
I don't know. I trust what Lovey had called on that last drive, and I'll do whatever he called again. And they made plays, and they were able to make a play at the end. You got to give those guys a lot of credit.
Thanks, Aeneas.
Appreciate it.
Al.
Thank you, Eric. Good to see Aeneas Williams toiling in obscurity and anonymity for so long. Finally get the acclaim he so richly deserves.
Really became the shutdown corner for Lovie Smith and that Rams defense. And how about his playoffs? 2 Brett Favre interceptions, both returned for touchdowns. Great story.
Third down and 10 now from the 21-yard line for the NFC. Down by 8. McNabb sitting in the pocket. The pass is high. The pass is intercepted. And this is Ty Law. He did it 6 days ago and ran it back for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Here he laterals it to the 12-yard line to Ray Lewis. And Lewis trying to fight his way into the end zone and still on his feet. And he gets into the end zone. Law to Lewis.
Be a law about bad tackling in the Pro Bowl. What determination by Lewis to get the score. Yeah, like 4 guys trying to tackle him there.
Billick may think about turning Ray into a running back.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
He's already got one Lewis running back. How about another one?
Sure.
That was great.
So McNabb's pass sailing, intercepted by Ty Law, and then to Lewis on the lateral for the touchdown. And the extra point by Elam, and Jason's been all over the joint, is just good. Just inside the left upright.
We talked about how the pass sailed on Donovan McNabb. This is a great catch by Ty Law. Watch how high he has to go to get this one. Keeps his balance, and now is thinking, yeah, I'm going to get in the end zone. Here's a good cut across the field here. Look at how it opens up for him. Not very good tackling by the NFC. Garrison Hurst will wrap up Law, but he sees Ray Lewis on the outside, and now the fun begins. This is your bull in the china closet right here. Keyshawn Johnson
not able to bring him down. Terrell Owens with a horrible effort there. And Lewis with the score. Skycam takes over for us and shows just how Lewis keeps his feet moving and finding the end zone. This is what happens to a quarterback looking for a place to dive and get out of harm's way.
And it looked like it was a legal lateral by Law. Pretty close. No challenges here to begin with. Let's go to Melissa.
All right, Al. Well, Ray Lewis clearly with the play of the game. You were out of breath. First of all, why didn't you save that for the regular season?
Hey, you know, they say save the best for last.
All right, tell me what happened on that play.
Hey, I saw him going across the field. I saw him cut back. I knew there was nobody else left. I think Keyshawn came off the sideline to try to stop me. But it was a great play by Ty Law, and I just ended it off.
Unbelievable. All right, I'll let you catch your breath for a sec here, but tell me what's going on with the Ravens defense, with Marvin Lewis. I mean, what should we expect from you guys next year?
Things are happening. I'm going to go back out here. I'll be back.
Okay, well, he'll leave us hanging out. Things are happening, but we don't know what.
He's coming back. We'll let him catch his breath, and I want to hear what he has to say about Marvin Lewis. Ray Lewis, the Super Bowl MVP last year, cornerstone of the Ravens defense, and taking it in for the score here in the Pro Bowl.
When you have success, you lose assistant coaches because they get hired somewhere. When you don't have success, you lose assistant coaches because they get fired.
Yeah. And McNabb in traffic. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Two of the more unusual interceptions you'll ever seen have been thrown today by Donovan McNabb. Shovel pass that Junior Seau picked off inside the 5-yard line, and that great play by Ty Law and Ray Lewis.
Second and 10 at the 38-yard line. And that pass is incomplete. Intended for David Boston. It will be 3rd down and 10. Well, if the AFC holds on and wins this game, this will be the 32nd game in the series since the merger, and the conferences would be even. It would be 16 and 16.
Yes, Al, and I know you're wondering how I did. 1 and 5.
1 and 5.
Yeah, and we were only playing for $5,000 for the winners and $2,500 for the losers, so I went home in the hole a lot.
3rd down and 10. And that pass is caught by Terrell Owens at the 35-yard line. Well, I mentioned, Dan, you hold the record for most yardage in a game.
Careful now. Where are you going with this?
Well, I just wanted to, since I believe in equal time provisions, I'm looking at most interceptions.
I knew you were going there.
Well, the guys must have been running wrong routes. You had 8?
Well, was that in one game?
No. 8 in your 6 appearances. But you hold the record by 2. Jim Hart had 6. Stabler 5.
Well, you know, Donovan McNabb is going to be in this Pro Bowl for a long time. He's going to play in about 6 or 7 more. He's got 2 today. I'm pulling for him to keep firing away, you know.
Dano, Hart had 5 in one game. At least you spaced your 8. Well, you had 3 in the 86 game.
I pulled the hamstring after that 3rd, and everybody was glad. Get him out of here. But, you know, in those days, you know, and when Jim played, we only picked 2 quarterbacks per team then.
Right.
And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
That's right, 2 quarterbacks, and the selection process has changed a lot through the years. I think it's more equitable right now. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Less no-shows, of course, since they moved the game to Honolulu.
Oh, what a move.
In 1980. And McNabb on the run. McNabb then throws, and this is caught by Owens, who comes back Not quite the way they drew it up. And Owens is out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
McNabb made a great move on Javon Kearse. One great athlete faking out another great athlete. Watch as Kearse number 90 comes in right about here. Woo! Even faked our camera. And watch the catch as McNabb throws it behind Owens, and he just reaches out and snatches it. Here's Javon Kearse. He thinks he's got a quarterback sack there. This is a most unusual quarterback, though.
8 catches for Owens. Randy Moss holds the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl record with 9. He accomplished that 2 years ago. And now we have delay of game called against the NFC.
5 yards. Repeat second down.
Was that right? Is that a promo? Does that count as promo time, Fred?
Why not?
Goldfinger.
Shirley Bassey.
2nd and 14. As McNabb throws to Hurst. And Garrison loses the football on the far sideline, but the NFC retains possession at the 2-minute warning.
How about that?
How about the clock operator? It stops when it should be going. It's going when it should stop.
No problem, brother.
Would you check that clock operator's booth on the way out, please? 2-minute warning, we think. 38-23. And Eric.
And don't forget our man, Melissa.
Our man, Melissa. Goldfinger coming up next, except on the West Coast where we have college basketball coming your way. Well, our crew winding down its season. Fred Gaudelli has done such a masterful job of producing, and Drew Esikoff directing our Monday night package this year, which concludes with a Saturday afternoon Pro Bowl game in the NFC. Trying to come from behind here, and the pass is taken in at the 26-yard line by David Boston.
I like to look at this as the beginning of this next season, Al, not the last of last.
True.
We just have a couple of bye weeks, and then we'll be right back at it.
Yep, it seems that way. Flag on the play here.
I believe this might be one of those detected from the observer upstairs. They're on the walkie-talkie down below.
No idea. I think the line judge.
Illegal defense, number 95. 15 yards. First down.
One of those illegal defense calls again.
Yeah. Jameer Miller is a linebacker in this game, and he could not do this. He is up pressing against the wide receiver. So this man right here, or got the word from upstairs that this is unsportsmanlike conduct. Jameer's used to getting after the quarterback, not playing pass defense.
And that is a 15-yard penalty here, which moves the ball just inside the 15-yard line and gives the NFC a first down. 1:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. AFC on top by 15. McNabb for Hurst to the end zone. Touchdown, Garrison Hurst. And with a minute and a half to play, it's 38-29.
As simple a touchdown pass as you'll ever see. Swing pass out to the right to number 20, Garrison Hurst. The NFC had two blockers out in front as it's a quick screen.
And a great move at the goal line to get in for the score.
Well, to tie the game, you're going to need a one-pointer and a two-pointer, and they'll opt for the one-pointer right here. Take their chances and go for the two-pointer if they can get into the end zone again. Akers to try to make it an 8-point game, and he does, so it's 38-30. And the NFC would have one timeout remaining, so they are forced to try an onside kick here. East Coast bond picture show Goldfinger. West Coast, you'll see Oregon, the Ducks taking on the Golden Bears at Berkeley. Not just the East Coast, but those of you in the Midwest and in the Mountain Time Zone will be seeing Goldfinger. Thanks to Mark Ameno up here, filling in so admirably and capably for George Hill in the mountains of Utah. And our spotter ending his 16th season, but not calling it a career as yet.
Better not.
Malibu, Kelly Higgs. Can't afford to call it a career yet. He's building a new home. Onside kick is imminent. Akers will try to kangaroo hop it into the arms of a blue and white clad NFCer. If the AFC recovers, they can run the clock out, in as much as the NFC has only one timeout remaining.
And most of the athletes out there are defensive players for the NFC on this onside kick.
So Akers to kick it has to go 10 yards. In the air, jumping up, making the grab was Rod Woodson. And Rod Woodson is able to secure the football and, in effect, secure an AFC victory. So Rod handing a present to his old coach, Bill Cowher.
Yeah, Rod Woodson, his 10th Pro Bowl, definitely going to be a Hall of Famer one day. But again, it's like Bruce Matthews. You have to retire before you can start that 5-year clock ticking. Watch Woodson come up high. It's a great kick by Akers. But only Woodson went after the ball while it was in the air.
They need a new DJ here, I decided.
Where's Don Ho?
Oh, man. Where's Danny Calichini?
Yeah. Best play in football for the winning quarterback.
Little kneel down will do it. And the NFC will stop the clock, but that's their last stoppage. And we understand that Rich Gannon has been voted the player of the game, so that's the second year in a row for Rich Gannon.
The award named after Dan McGuire, former columnist with the Advertiser here in Honolulu, also former 49er publicist back in the Brody and Tittle days.
That's right. He wins this Cadillac. That's the prize. Dan McGuire was married to Margaret Keane, who was the great artist.
Absolutely.
And now Brady, on a couple of kneel downs, can wrap it up, and Brady can walk off the field a winner for the second time in 6 days. Rich Gannon got it started for the AFC. NFC was able to hang right in there until the very end, but the AFC is going to go home with $30,000 per man. NFC $15,000 per participant. And let's check in again with Melissa.
All right, well, when Ray Lewis last ran away, he said things are happening. We were talking about Marvin Lewis. Can you just give us some kind of sense of what you were talking about?
I mean, he's probably going to be back with us. I'm not happy with what people done to him. You know, I think he should. Everybody in the situation should have been a man about it one way or another. Then not let a guy set his family up and think one thing and then another thing goes different. But I'm disappointed that he didn't get it, but at the same time happy that we stayed together.
Lucky to have him back, I guess. Yeah. Thanks, Ray.
Well, that remains to be seen. And Ray, of course, talking about the fact that it appeared that Marvin Lewis would be hired by Tampa Bay, then that was squashed by the Glazer family. And then apparently Marvin is meeting with the Redskins about the possibility of becoming their defensive coordinator. So a lot still to be determined, except the outcome of this game has been determined.
And as Ray said, things are happening all over the league.
Things are happening, but the season is over. It's history, and the AFC has won the Pro Bowl. Back in a minute. It's been a great year, and on behalf of Dan Fouts and Dennis Miller, Eric Dickerson, Melissa Stark, Al Michaels with a reminder again. The final score here was the AFC 38 and the NFC 30 in the Pro Bowl. 32 of these have been played, now tied at 16 apiece. Stay tuned now for the Bomb Picture Show. Goldfinger, West Coast only college basketball.